here?
Ramzeigh.
There you go.
Ramzeigh, baby, everyone.
Yeah,
we got Omar over here again.
Mr. Omar came back.
Omar's here too.
There you go.
Yeah.
Another random pod. These are probably one of my favorite ones.
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous pods are always the best ones. Let's get it.
Hell yeah.
All right, Ramzeigh, I just want to see how was your morning, because right now it's 12 o'clock? And I just randomly called you again just like 30 minutes ago.
Literally 30 minutes ago.
Exactly.
Like, come record. I was like, give me 30 minutes. Probably got here less than that.
Yeah, no, we were actually saying.
We were literally saying that. I was like, oh man, he said 30 and he made it less than 30.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
That's good.
A round of applause for you, brother.
Hey, that's what's up, man.
Yeah, thank you for coming through, because unfortunately we had a guest that kind of flaked. And it is what it is, it happens. Actually, it is what it is. I'm not even I'm not gonna name the person, because
am I the rebound?
No, actually, before you came through, I got here at 10:30. Omar got here at 11, and then Omar's like, "Oh, is this person coming through?" I'm like, "It's 50-50." Yeah. But just in case, let's call Ramzeigh afterwards if they don't come through. But I already had it in my mind. Mm-hmm. You're the only person that I actually said, like, let's just call him around 12, just in case. And then, that's kind of what happened. I ended up calling the person. And
it worked out. I wasn't doing anything. I was free, and it works out, and we're here.
There you go. What'd you do this morning?
This morning, I went to the swamp meet.
Yeah.
I went to 4 Points.
Swamp meet.
Oh, I love 4 Points.
The outside one. Haven't been there. Oof. I was probably a kid the last time I was there.
Okay.
And I went today.
Yeah. Well, how was it?
Very nostalgic for me.
Okay. Did you buy anything?
I bought like working gloves.
Okay.
Yeah. Funny story. There was a lady. There's like a stand. You know how they're like outside stands. You know. There were shoes, right? Mm-hmm. And I saw like Jordans. I was like Nike Jordan. Like, I'm a little sus, at
the swap meet. Yeah.
I was a little sus, so I approached it. And I was like looking at him, and then the lady. I'll give it to the lady. She tried to sell it to me so hard, dude. She's like, "Oh, esos apenas llegaron, son nuevas, this and that." And I was like, "Oh, okay, this and that." I like shoes. I'm into the culture and all that. And I was just like, "Yeah, these ain't it," you know. Like,
how much was she trying to go for?
She was selling them to me for $70.
Okay,
which is really cheap.
Yeah, they're bootlegged. True.
They were fake. Yeah. They were fake.
That was a given. You said swap me, bro, and I was like, oh, they're more than likely fake.
Yeah, yeah.
You were there for a minute, just buying gloves, and that was it.
I was just vibing and I literally walked the whole thing. I was getting tired from the walking. It was cool vibe. Okay. Cool vibe. Got some tamales.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
And a little. What's that drink? Agua de pepino. I love that. That's my favorite juice, bro. Yeah, dude. Yeah, and yeah, man. Just
there you go. That was your morning.
That was my morning, and now I'm here.
That was a good morning.
Yeah, I literally got home from the swamp meet. I chilled for like not even 20 or maybe half an hour, and then it's when you called me.
Yeah. Did you actually have any plans before, as far as like before I called you?
No, not right now. Like later on in the evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's cool. Well, thank you for coming through again. And of course, before it was 2-2, now it's 2-3.
There you go. Yeah, bro.
So now we have to catch up on yours again.
Yeah.
So any updates for the Shade of Brown?
There's a lot going on.
Okay.
There's a lot going on.
Anything that you could announce?
I like to surprise people.
Okay.
I like to surprise. We yesterday. Well, today is Sunday. As of this recording, right? Yesterday we were invited to the brand. It's a game called Yosabo, a card game. We played it when you were on. Remember?
Yeah.
And we played a game, and the owners invited us over. That's the karaoke place out in Fullerton.
Okay.
And it was yesterday was their anniversary from starting that game.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, and they invited other podcasters and other people that they have collabed with.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a vibe. It was a lot of fun. Karaoke, I'd never done that before. The guys went. I saw a different side of Anthony
Nice.
that I've never seen before.
Nice.
My brother as well, broke out of his shell a
Okay.
little bit. That's what I like to see,
Okay. I'm getting out there.
Yeah, and me too. That was the first karaoke I've ever done,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a vibe. And I didn't want to be that guy. I was telling Omar before we started recording. I don't want to be that guy like saying no, like no, I don't want to sing a song. I don't do one.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I wanted to have that same energy,
Okay.
But yeah, that happened yesterday. We got someone coming in, not this Monday, but the next Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Another collab with another podcast. Yeah, man. No, we got a couple of things going on.
I see that you guys are really consistent as far as like on a weekly basis.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
We have been hella consistent.
That's good.
Hell
That's
yeah.
good. That's what's up.
Yeah. People have told us that. He's like, dude, meeting the other podcasters over there in Fullerton and meeting them, I introduced myself, me and the guys. And they said the same thing. Like, dude, your stuff comes up. Like, it keeps coming up.
That's good. That's good.
I was like, because we're cooking
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
Which was the goal. When I remember when I first met you guys, the first time you guys came into my podcast, that was literally what you had said. I'm like, I want to now go for it like 100%.
Yeah. I said that, and I'll say it again too. I'll say it on this podcast too. I said it that I'm going all in on this. Podcasting is fun for me, dude.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's dope, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm right here with you.
Yeah.
We're podcasting right now.
Exactly. This is what we do for fun.
Yeah.
Because I could have called you and basically said, hey, let's hang out at the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could just basically did what I just did, called you. I'm like, hey, let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
It's what we do, for fun. It's not mandatory. No one's forcing us. We actually want to do it at this point. Like, podcasting for us or for those that are doing it, and hopefully they're doing it for the right intentions too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people do fall into the platforms that they kind of try to copy because they think it's cool or because it's trendy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not in it for the right reasons when it comes to podcasting, you fall into that category of like it's just an emotional thing in the beginning.
That's true.
And then you fall out right away too, because of course
true.
there's a lot of legwork behind the scenes, like connecting everything, doing the post, and then when I mean post, I mean the actual post editing.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course now you're gonna actually go and post it somewhere, which takes time as well, and then scheduling it, doing clips.
Yep.
So all of that stuff comes with podcasting, and which is good because we have little other platforms that we could actually now put it onto.
Yeah.
But it takes time, and of course we both work full time.
Yeah.
And we just do it on our free time. You know, that's what it is. But like, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people fall into the idea that podcasting is just fun because they see us posting, but they don't see the behind the scenes.
That's so true. I have been told, like, people DM me, he's like, oh, I saw, I seen your stuff. People that I know, personally that I've met, and they see it only in the surface.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see the work behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, but they get hyped, and they say they want to do it too. But
bro, it's because you make it look easy.
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, that's what it is. Anytime you're good at something, anytime you're really good at something, or even just consistent.
That's what I was gonna say. Also, consistency.
Even consistency. You give the illusion that it's easy to do.
It's an illusion. You're right. You're right, Omar. Wow.
It's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The whole work behind it. The editing stuff. I come from producing music background, right? I'm already used to editing programs, all that, and I generally like doing that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like work to me.
Yeah.
Because I like doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it too, where the reason why we can be so consistent, because we genuinely like doing it.
Yeah, which is really good. I think that the idea of that you're doing it for the right reasons, once again, it's basically another sense of motivation of like actually wanting to do it, because it feeds into that energy too, rather than taking away. A lot of people that go into the idea without the knowing of like, hey, I have to do the editing side, I have to understand lighting, I have to understand audio. That's where they fall into like, oh, I'm gonna just do it less and less, Now for me, unfortunately, because I have so much work, it's a little bit harder to get free time because I work from almost like every single day. Of course, today is my only day off of the week. And I could have stayed home and basically had rested or gone to the gym or whatever, or I've gone out as well. But I decided, hey, I see that I have one day, let me set something up. And if it falls through, I have people that are willing to come through, even though you are a repeated guest. And of course, I want to continue having you guys as guests, not only just yourself, but the Shade of Brown, like the whole group. But I do want to highlight people from my actual life as well. Yeah. But unfortunately, certain people, they don't even see the advantages of what we're trying to provide for them. Yeah. That within itself, it's almost like it's on them. Like if you're not seeing what is being provided, because of the amount of work that is being taken before they come through, that they don't understand like how much privilege it is to even be on a podcast as well, to be a guest as well. And I think that's something that not only for a guest, but the person that's coming in wanting to do their own podcast, they have to start understanding that as well. But like I said, it's just I see that your consistency is consistent, which I applaud you guys.
Thank you.
Like I do want to be more consistent with mine, but like I said, it's just unfortunate that, well, I wouldn't say unfortunate. It is what it is. You know, I have so much work. I do want to, I think I had spoken to you maybe once about my format as far as like how I'm doing it. Cause I did a podcast with my friend Todd this week on, what day was it, Omar? Like Wednesday or Thursday?
I want to say it was Wednesday.
Oh, it could have been Wednesday. I don't even
remember.
Yeah,
because I think, because I was going to say I work Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I could have only came in on a Wednesday.
Yeah. So we did a 4-hour podcast. That was the longest podcast that I've had so far. But it was the podcast that I'm having. They're very entertaining now. Todd is a really good speaker. Yeah. As far as like a good person to talk to as well. He has a bunch of stories because he's an older guy. Yeah. So it was for me, one, entertaining to my ears. And of course, Omar's here so that they got along. So they kind of went back and forth on questions and stuff. So now it's becoming more of like, I am enjoying it a lot more now that I'm doing it a lot more consistently, more than I used to do it in the past. But now I want to do more consistency as far as like what you guys have, as far as like once a week or even sometimes twice a week. But the idea is that I don't have time to edit those clips. So what I'm thinking, and I think you had brought it up to me once, is why don't you just edit one clip and then post a pod, and then from that week, whatever that you don't have time, just keep editing to promote it going into your YouTube channel, rather than promote, the clips first and then going into the actual full podcast. Oh, okay. Because the clips are the ones that take me the longest because I'm the one editing. So so that's kind of where I'm kind of thinking that in my goal right now, I might release Todd's next week with one clip, and then from there just start editing 2 more clips,
like the trailer.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll see.
The teaser.
Yeah, I think it's just more the time management that I'm trying to figure out for the platform.
Trial and error.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm noticing a lot more viewers. I'm noticing a lot more likes. I'm noticing a lot more as far as like the comments, as far as like on the clips, and I'm seeing more viewership on YouTube, which I want to continue. And I don't want it to be where I post like once a month and the following month I have nothing. So it has to almost stay within a rhythm where I'm like, okay, people aren't forgetting about the podcast, and it's staying consistent like yours. And I'm just trying to figure it out without me neglecting the actual work that I have.
Yeah, but the thing with you though, bro, like you're one dude. Like I got help with my guys. Like Anthony helps me with the clips. I send him the original file of the video. He tells me like the timestamp, like, bro, clip me this part, say less, and I send him the original file, and then he does the rest. I got help. I think because we have a system going on.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why. It took us a while to get to like this. It's not perfect. But it's working. And it took us a while because there was a lot of trial and error for us to get like this consistent. And but the thing is, like I said, you're one dude. You're doing everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And that could be understandable.
Yeah. At some point, I do want to hire outsource the clips. But it's not until I guess the YouTube channel gets monetized, or if not Instagram gets monetized, because like I said, I try to organize everything where it makes sense, where I'm not forcing myself to spend more money on something that I know I could do myself. And it's not that it takes me too long, it's just finding that time to do it. Like I said, I have so much work. Like I create content for other people. I'm always going and doing videos and photos every single day, or if not, I'm doing photos at the studio here as well. And I have to find that time to edit that footage, or if not those photos. And of course I'm managing my team when it comes to the company. So that's where like I have to make sure that doesn't fall. You know, like that's number one. And then my podcast, because this is for me and myself, there's no formula for my podcast. There's no, like, I understand where you guys are going after, you know, like being humorous, very entertaining, all that stuff. But for me, it's more like, okay, I just want to do it because I want to do it. And that's it. It doesn't matter if like it's someone professional or if it's just a friend or a colleague. It's just, it is what it is. This is what I want to do. It's just a podcast for me. And if people want to listen, 100%, you're more than welcome to listen. And if you don't like it, then please push that like button, or if not, comment. Either way, so that the algorithm gets it, which I like too. Like I like the haters too.
Even if it's a negative comment, it triggers the algorithm.
No, exactly.
At the end of the day,
I love it.
You know?
Which is fine for me, because I've had negative comments on my stuff too, which I'm like, well, I don't even say anything that's too controversial, but 100% you're always gonna offend somebody. Which for me, like I like what you said, the algorithm basically will push your video if there's comments, which for me, like, keep commenting negative or positive, I would care less. If anything, I'm going to like it regardless if it's negative or positive. So you're doing me a favor. So,
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So keep commenting.
Ramzeigh, have you dealt with any negativity in your community or in your...
Not really.
No?
A little bit, but not like hating on us type thing. It's more like making fun of us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, what's the funniest comment that you've seen? Or
we kind of like been roasted a little bit.
Hey, dude, I love roasting. If you can make me laugh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, is there any comments that you saw that you were like...
I'm very humorous.
Yeah.
You know? What I was saying about Yo Sabo earlier, it's a card game, right? It's a Spanish card game where it tests your Spanish language.
Ooh.
So we played it majority of times on my pod, and it's either we post a clip of it or Yo Sabo posts a clip of it. They use the clip, and sometimes, like, especially on TikTok, we go look into the comments, and people are saying like, estos pendejos, you know, stuff like that.
That's not roasting.
These are your no Sabo kids right here, like stuff like that. And but I love it. It's funny because I'm very humorous, and coming from like a Mexican background, you know, Hispanic, whatever. We're used to that.
You're used to the shit talking. Yeah. That's right.
You know, we're used to that shit. You know.
Do you guys ever reply back?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like being funny back.
Yeah. Being funny back. Gotcha. Yeah. We're not like trying to like spread negativity anyway. You know what I mean? We're just happy that they commented. The fact that they commented.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
The 3-hour pod that me and Omar had had a good amount of views. I'm like, that's a 3-hour podcast. Like people
sat there for 3 hours,
or if not, they paused, you know,
or came back to it later.
Yeah, exactly. But it
still holds it though.
Yeah. So we'll see how the 4-hour pod goes.
I'm excited for that one only because Todd, like I said, Todd, he's a mother lover.
Yeah, he's a good.
That's like dude. Half days of work right there. You know, 4 hours right there.
We didn't even realize it was 4 hours though. We just kept going. Yeah, we just kept going, and then unfortunately, my friend Danny, he had his podcast in the same room that same day, and he walked in and he was kind of waiting, but I didn't even realize the time, so he had to reschedule his podcast because we took the so much time that I didn't realize, like, hey, we kind of like fell through on his time.
Must have been really that good, man.
Yes.
You know, you didn't want to stop.
Good conversation.
You didn't want to stop. That's what's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, but that's what it is though. Like the conversation, if it leads into other conversations, and then you fall into the rhythm, and then of course you get entertained as well when you're actually in a podcast.
Yeah,
because you're in I guess it's just more a conversation with friends.
Yeah,
and then we do it so often with friends. I'm like, but now it's being recorded. Yeah, so I'm like, all right, well let's get it. And of course, getting insights from a guy like Todd, for me, it's more entertaining because I know what he's saying. It comes from experience. And then, of course, he follows into the moralities and values that I have. So it's easier for me to like do the comparisons and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a really good guy. He's a very good guy. He's like a white Santa Claus, you know,
Mr. Clean,
Mr. Clean kind of guy.
like
He's
Mr. Clean.
yes.
That you relate to very well.
Very tall, you know, old and bald, you know, but very hardworking, good morals, good values. But you know, but he's very humorous as well.
Yeah.
Like he's not the type of guy to be judgmental because he's an elder or whatever, or he's at that age.
He's a wise man.
Yeah, he's very like intuitive in the idea. I'm like, okay, I read who you are, and now we could have an actual conversation.
Nice.
Of course, he was a little hesitant in the beginning, like everybody that does their first podcast, they get a little nervous.
Yeah.
And I even had to tell him, like, if you want to say something, say it, you know, because even me and Omar were talking how now there are conversations or topics of conversations that certain people are scared to be heard in public, or if not in a podcast. And when Todd was here, it was the same thing where he was a little hesitant. He's like, oh, I really want to say this, but, you know, I'm like, no, you say it. You know, like if you're scared, you know, like my platform is not that big. No one really cares at this point, you know, like maybe in 10 years, but I'm not making money. This is for fun. You know, like if you can't say it in my podcast, how are you going to be able to say it in public?
Yeah, true.
So, but yeah, after that, he kind of opened up. And of course, I started saying my things as well, where it kind of allowed him to feel more comfortable to say what he wanted to say. Because like right now, we're kind of living in this cancel culture kind of thing, you know, where everyone's very sensitive to certain things or certain topics or certain areas of politics and all this stuff. So those are things that we have to kind of understand that, it's good to be courteous, it's good to be nice and all this stuff, but there's certain lines that you have to understand that the line is just imaginary.
Yep.
And if we do live in this country and it's freedom of speech, understand that the opinion of others don't overstep your opinions as well. Just because the majority of the public that are spewing these ideas, you know, is popular right now, doesn't mean that it's going to be popular forever. So understand that your opinions also are just as valid if you don't agree with theirs, and vice versa. So if they're angry at you because you're not agreeing, just understand that it could go both ways. So just say what you're going to say. Yeah. And that's it. Don't be too scared. Now, of course, if you're doing it where the intent is to harm somebody, that's a different story. Yeah. That's but I'm just saying, speak your mind, you know, because we have this consciousness that is given to us. And unfortunately now people are just too hesitant to even be themselves now. True.
Like when people have their differences, I've been like congratulated for standing by my beliefs. You know what I mean? Like I have family and friends have told me like what do they say? Like I dig that you stand by what you mean, even though we have our differences. Yeah. That's admirable.
Yeah, it is. And I think that honesty, it comes out, you know, like being very genuine to your audience. They see it as well. The podcast that me and Omar had, we weren't agreeing with stuff, but yet, where is he at? He's still at my studio, bro.
We're still friends.
And you can disagree and still be friends.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I think the problem, at least now, is that people are afraid to communicate, and because of that, they're more than likely to fall in line in whatever it is that is being communicated. So like if I'm afraid to tell you, hey man, like that sweater makes you look fat, you know, I might just be like, you know, nah, dude, you look great, man. You look at that sweater, man. You're rocking that sweater. And in the back of my head, I'm like, I could probably save him like from this disaster of a wardrobe if I would just tell him, hey, it's a little too tight, man. Like maybe you should wear it a little bit bigger. And you might even just say, fuck you, dude. I like showing my lonjas, you know? But that's okay. The point is that if it's never communicated, I don't have the opportunity to change your mind, help you in any way, or even change my own mind. Maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm just a little judgmental. Maybe you're not fat. Maybe I just have some, I don't know, idea in my head that I've only had and I've never questioned it because I've never talked to somebody about it. Yep. But if you don't communicate and you're afraid to communicate, you'll never know. And I think that's why it doesn't matter what you say, like express yourself, and what happens after, you'll see. Yeah. There'll be results.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think the honesty within friendships, it's more important too, because that's where you start to understand like, okay, I could really trust this person, in front of me. And like I said, me and Omar were literally going back and forth on that podcast. We're just bantering like as like, no, I don't agree with you, or no, it's this, or this is what this means.
Yeah.
But that aspect, like it gives you more of an idea of where his head's at. And then maybe I changed his mind later, or if the vice versa, maybe he changed my mind after the podcast.
Yeah.
But more than likely, because I did get messages or DMs from my friends on like, oh, it seemed like like you guys were just that, like, I don't know. It's just like for them, the idea of disagreeing, it's a conflict.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, it's almost like, no, it's not a conflict. It's just a conversation, and it's an honest conversation too, because we're not trying to hurt each other, but we're just trying to say what we actually want to say rather than just keeping quiet.
Yeah, that's dope. There's sense of maturity in it too. Like, let's say, pretend you and me, Irvin, we have our differences, different beliefs, different political views, like totally different dudes, but we somehow are still friends. That's saying like, even though we have our differences, my views are different from yours, but I care about you more than my views.
Ooh, nice.
You know?
Damn, that was hot fire.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the maturity in that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. And of course that you develop that through age too, because you're not honed into your emotions as far as like or your beliefs as well. And
I think it's emotions. I think you said it, man. It's the emotion. You get so invested into an idea that it just, you think you're the idea. And when it's you
marry that idea.
You marry that idea, and you're less likely to want to give it up. So because of that, you fight for that idea.
And you get all these cancel cultures, all this political views that don't agree, like
because they get emotional.
That's where all that comes from.
Yeah. Yep. And it's emotion. So like Irvin was right.
Yeah, they invest too much in the actual idea rather than the concept of the idea. What exactly are you talking about? Like I need to know, and most people don't know how to actually explain themselves because it's just repeated conversation that they heard.
It's a broken record.
And then of course I'm like more of like, okay, let's break it down. Like I want to know from where is this coming from, whatever topic that we're talking about. I'm that guy. And a lot of people don't like that because a lot of people don't even know what they're talking about. So it becomes more of a disagreement, not on the idea. It's more of a disagreement on the idea that they don't even know what they're talking about because they get nervous. I'm like, hey, someone actually is challenging me. So I'm no longer going to be on this nice offense. I'm going to go on the defense. And my defense is basically just going to have me just say whatever. And for me, I'm actually listening. I'm actually active listening to the point where I'm breaking down your emotional topic over dialogue where I'm just picking at it. I'm like, okay, you said this, so let's break it down. What do you mean off of this? And from there, a lot more people get more emotional too. So it's just like, it's very hard to actually have a conversation, like I said, an honest conversation with people now because of that reason. And luckily, I do have a group of friends now that I could honestly, I know I could disagree with on certain things, or I could agree on certain things, but maybe have a different point of view on those ideas. But as long as I could say it out loud and you're not offended and we could still go out and do whatever we want, like just hang out, then I'm cool with that, because at least I know where your head's at that point, and the same thing with Omar. Like I said, we were just disagreeing on the whole podcast. It's 3 hours of disagreeing.
No, bro, but you know what? That's what people want. If you notice what's on the news, what's on the media, people fighting, people disagreeing, this is what people want.
People taking sides.
Exactly. They want to hear what your side is. And the more you fight for it, and then there's there's a give and take. It's entertaining. It's like a drama. It's like a play. That's why we go to the movies, right? We want to feel something. And when you see two people going at it with their beliefs, you're like, I agree with that guy. No, fuck that guy. That guy's dumb. And you start getting invested into the conversation, into the people. And I'm just saying, man, I think you're onto something.
Yeah, and of course, when I've gone onto your podcast, there are certain topics or my first time I went onto your podcast, there was a topic or the topic that you guys chose to actually kind of like have a conversation with. I didn't want to kind of go off what I really wanted to say directly because it's your platform. Now, if I would have been without the camera and without the microphones, because it could hinder your platform too, having someone actually saying what they really want to say. So for me, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to tiptoe around the topic a little bit, I'm going to say what I want to say, but I'm not going to say it too directly because it's not my platform, because I have to respect it as well. And same thing if you're going to someone's house or you're going to someone's business, you know, you want to respect the house, you know, because it's
You don't want to get kicked out of the house.
Yeah.
Yo, your house smells,
Right.
man. Did someone die in here?
Yeah. So that's kind of where my only hesitation as far as like how far I could take the conversation in certain places.
Yeah.
Now if it's my podcast, I'll literally
Take your shoes off.
Literally, if you would have asked me that same question or those same questions here with the guys here, the same group of guys here, I would have answered it a little bit more directly. Where
now that we're here,
now that it's on my podcast, it's up to you guys if you guys want to stand up and get out, you know, before you guys get caught on the crossfires, because unfortunately that does happen. And it's happened to one of our friends, Enrique.
Yeah.
Really?
Where he was in a pod. I don't want to say the name because I don't want people to kind of go and start it again. But
certain things were said and which triggered a lot of people. And he didn't really say much.
Yeah, he didn't say.
He was just caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, exactly. He was caught on a crossfire on another pod.
Yeah.
And it caught onto his platform where he got hate for it.
That's right. I remember.
Yeah, there you go. He actually spoke about it on when he came through.
That's what the Power Ranger did.
There you go.
I remember now.
There you go.
It spreads like wildfire.
Exactly. And it wasn't even him. You know, he was just in the room and unfortunately people would just get upset and he got DMs, and I'm not sure if he's shadow banned because that's something that I even have to talk to him about how Instagram will shadow ban you if there is negativity kind of thrown at you via DMs, because they actually read your DMs too.
Mother.
Yeah, they do.
Lovers.
I'm gonna post that on Instagram.
Mother. Love it. Sorry, I'm trying, man. After talking to Todd, I realized how conscious I was of my own cursy, dirty mouth, and I was like, I gotta try to, because he had said something.
What? I'm trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, dude. He had said because he was talking about how he was a born again Christian.
Okay.
And he was saying that his daughter was like, "Why do you say all those bad words?" He was like, "Bro, I just talk shit. This is just what I do."
Yeah.
And she's like, "But what you say comes from the heart." And I'm like, "Oh."
Ouch.
Oh wow! Hold on a minute. So I'm always saying fuck, shit, bitch. Like I'm like, is
There goes
that
my
what,
YouTube channel.
yeah, I know, right? Is that where my heart is? Man, I should probably figure that out. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to do the same thing, bro. I'm trying to like cool it with the cursing, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't know what it is though. Like I think, is it your environment that you kind of grew up in, like as far as like your group of friends or your uncles or your
I think it was a lack of vocabulary.
Okay.
I think that's where it comes from, because now that I'm getting older, I don't want to say I'm getting smarter, but I'm learning a little bit more. And I'm like, oh, I want to sound more articulate. I want to sound a little bit, more professional.
Yeah.
And it could be the age. I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm sure you guys have heard people like they can't have a sentence without a curse word in it, you know? And it's kind of like sounds like non-intellectual.
There
almost.
you go.
Yeah, you know?
That's what I'm saying, a lack of vocabulary.
Yeah.
You know, these people, at least me, I was one of them. I'm like, I'd say F word after every sentence.
Yeah,
like,
I never developed that habit just because I just started talking a couple years ago. So barely learning.
You just barely started talking.
Yeah, I'm barely learning even the actual words, as far as like the intermediate words are barely coming out of my mouth. So those curse words didn't come out. They'll come out next year.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, no, once you start learning more words, you're like, you know what? This is unnecessary fluff.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say the F word after every sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the shade of brown right now is, like I said, you guys are now staying consistent.
Yeah.
As far as like any bigger platforms that have hit you guys up, like, are you guys now noticing that too? Because I remember I was one of the first podcasters that invited you guys. Are you guys now seeing that rhythm as well?
It's starting.
Okay.
We've got hit up like maybe a few times with other podcasters, like already established podcasters that they've been doing it for years.
Okay.
And like I said, when we met the other podcasters, there was a few over there at the karaoke place. Like I said, like, oh, we seen your stuff. It comes up, and one of them actually told us like we need a collab. And they're already another huge podcast already established too. So I'm like, we're down, bro.
Yeah.
We're trying out here. You know? Yeah. But like I said this to the guys, dude, and like, dude, let's not forget the AV though. If this does pop off, you got to put the AV on. You know, we got to bring the AV.
That's what's up.
That's right. That's
you
right.
can't forget.
Hey, we can't forget the AV.
Yeah, man, that's where we're from. We're out here, bro. AV brothers right here.
That's right.
Can't forget where you're coming
were you
from.
born out here, brother?
No.
No, you weren't born out here. Okay.
Nah.
He was born in the same location I was born.
Oh, that's right, Mexico.
I'm Mexican, brother.
Yeah, see, I was born out here, so I'm a desert rat. You know,
Okay.
An
born and
AV?
raised. Yeah, I was born out here, man.
In Lancaster?
Yeah. Lancaster, Antelope Valley Hospital, bro, right here, 1990.
Wow. My younger brother, his whole life too.
Wow.
He was born in Lancaster.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Born in Lancaster.
Yeah, that's why, like, when people talk, like, no, you know, like, they talk smack, when they talk smack, and they're just like, there's nothing to do, and oh man, what do you do here? I was like, dude, I've lived here my whole life.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
You know, when you get used to a certain way of life, certain way of living, and then you come here, it could be a little jarring. You know what I mean?
I noticed it's kind of like filtered in a way. People like in social media, they see it in a certain way where like it should be like that, like going out, the activities, this and that. I'm like, bro, social media is telling you like you need to go and do this. Which you could do the same thing here in the AV.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what I mean?
You don't have to go drive an hour south from here, you know,
to get drunk at a bar or to go do karaoke
Or have an expensive cafe.
Or exactly.
Exactly.
There's live music out here. Maybe it's no, you know, like Kings of Leon or like, you know, the Killers, but like you got people playing out here music and live situations.
And it's growing too.
Yeah.
It is. You know? AV is growing.
Yeah. We're seeing more entertainment. We're seeing more taco trucks everywhere now.
There you go.
You know,
taco trucks.
That's how you know.
Remember the taco trucks?
Yeah.
That's how you know.
That's how you know. You know, they're everywhere. On 47th, where I live, by La Verta, literally in the evening time, they're just there now. I'm like, bro, you don't have to walk anywhere.
Bro, you keep telling everywhere where you live, dude.
Shit, I live in Acton, my bad.
not just taco trucks, like taco stands.
Yeah,
taco
they're
stands.
Everywhere now.
Pupusa stands, bro.
Everywhere, bro.
The pupusas, bro.
Yeah.
I love them.
But that's how you know that it is getting more populated, and of course the houses right now are getting more expensive. So that's how you know that the economy or the population out here is gravitating towards the AV, because one, there are entertainment as far as like a lifestyle out here if you're actually willing to actually go look for it too. It's not like LA or in the valley where you're just gonna walk at every corner there's something. No, there's like little spots out here that you could actually go and actually do stuff.
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't like going out to begin with, so I don't really care regardless if there's something to do out here or not. I'm more of an indoors person. I would rather do my thing like what we're doing right now. This is kind of what I wanted to do, and it's more affordable out here to do it too. Out in the valley or out in LA, I would never have a studio because it would cost way too much money. Yeah,
way too much.
Yeah, the cost as far as like the rent, the cost of the lights, the cost of insurance would be way too much for me to even afford, for me to even have other people rent out my rooms, the ones that I have now, or the studio, or me actually do what I need to do at the studio. It wouldn't be a possibility out there unless I have like rich family, or if I'm an established videographer or photographer, then maybe, but no, not out here. But the possibilities out in the AV, they're endless.
Yes.
But people kind of just see the desert and they don't see it where it's like, oh, it's not sexy enough for me to actually do something out there, because the illusion, what you're saying as far as like what
the illusion, exactly,
they see on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, the lifestyle that most people kind of envision themselves of, that the events every night or the coffee shops. And I kind of go off of the sitcom, the Friends.
Ooh.
Friends.
You know, where they live in New York.
Yeah. Perfect.
Right?
Sorry.
They live in New York, and they basically
no fucking way.
Exactly.
They can't afford that place they're staying
it's
in,
too
bro.
big. It's way too big. They have a balcony and all those bedrooms and stuff, and then they have a cafe downstairs, and you never see them working all the time. They're like always hanging out.
Yeah.
That is just a TV show, and a lot of people kind of fell into that, where they're like, oh, I want to do that, and I just want to have fun with friends and go to coffee shops and go to bars, go to do whatever events or whatever, almost like on a daily. And then they're kind of living on the illusion that if you live out there, that's kind of the lifestyle that you're going to live. But unfortunately, because of the market and because of, like inflation, it just doesn't make sense. You're just going to work and just going to say, oh, I live in LA to live in LA. Yeah. But when you're there, you're like, bro, like I have a 2-bedroom apartment or 1-bedroom apartment for $3,000, $4,000.
Jeez.
I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, you're not making that much money to begin with.
Yeah.
And you're not even including your car insurance or your other bills that you need to pay, like
Groceries.
exactly utilities, all that stuff. So
bro, we were talking
I don't
about
understand that. I don't understand that.
No,
Like,
yeah, you remember we were talking. I think we did the math, and in order to
guys did the
afford
math.
again, in order to afford a $3,000 like let's say apartment or a house by yourself comfortably, if you wanted to follow the 28% rule, you'd have to make like $11K a month. Who the fuck is making $11K a month? You know, like out in LA, like unless you're in the music industry, entertainment industry, some fancy schmancy lawyer or like a doctor, like
tech industry,
or coder, like you can't do that by yourself without having like 5 other people in that 2-bedroom apartment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even out here, it's getting really expensive. Like a 2-bedroom apartment's like around a little bit over 2,000.
Oof, that's right. That's right.
And it's not even in nice areas too. It's the east side. These are like east side apartments, you know, like these are like
oh man,
the older, you know, like the ones that you don't want to
How far east?
I would say the middle east.
the Middle East. What do you mean by that?
Oh man,
The sketchy east. The sketchy east.
Hey, no. I live in the Middle East too. I'm not going to tell you exactly
That
where.
sounds like-
yeah, but I know what you're talking. I know what you mean. I know what you mean, man. That's funny.
That's where Omar lives.
The Middle East.
I live in Acton.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this year I'll be able to buy my first house. And
Nice.
yeah, and I think I had spoken to you the first time I actually met you that my plan is to rent out rooms.
I'm gonna move in one of
You're
them.
gonna move in, bro. We're gonna
yeah.
have parties. You know,
Yeah.
don't worry about it. We're gonna set up a podcast room
Record
and everything.
podcast like
I just
every
saw somebody.
Oh, it's probably Ariana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's,
gonna record a pod.
it's a ghost. Is it Sarah?
Dude, I'm freaking out. Is it Sarah? She showed up?
No.
Oh man.
I think we weren't supposed to say.
I know, but that's okay. She won't watch this.
Oh, no, she will. She watches all of them.
Does she really?
Yeah, she watches all of them.
Okay, well then I'm calling you out.
Shout out to
I'm just
Sarah.
saying. Shout out to Sarah.
Shout out to Sarah. Pobrecita.
Pobrecita. Está enfermita.
Está enfermita. Allegedly.
Oh my god.
Allegedly.
Hey, Rams, so like,
Yeah.
you were talking about moving in with this dude.
Yeah. I'm
You're looking
down.
for a place too?
I'm down.
Yeah?
Trying to move in too. Or what?
Hey, I got a family to take care. Or else I would actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So like, just for those people out there, I live at home with my mama and my two
Siblings.
my two siblings and my nephew, my adopted nephew. And
okay.
my mama's getting older, and my nephew and my littlest brother is autistic. And she's old, and she's a nurturer, and these kids aren't. No offense to her, they're not getting the proper attention because she's not, the teacher. She's a nurturer.
She's always working too.
And she's and it's like, you know what? Let me hang around.
This
here.
situation.
Yeah, because genuinely, I mean, I love my mama. I love my family.
I love my mom too.
I don't have a wife or kids, and I'm still young, so I have the opportunity to still be at home and help her out with the things that she isn't capable. And paying the rent too, it's getting expensive out here. So it's like, hey, she's like a roommate to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is admirable, your reasoning.
It is.
So,
It is.
As far as like what you're doing it, because there are a lot of people that are kind of just stuck in their ways as far as like being comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's a different story as far as like within itself, like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Me personally, I kind of want to just like now start building my little portfolio when it comes to actual houses. And
She said
she should come through. But yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully, I'll look at the houses right now after my taxes, and then I'll figure it out. I do want to get something where it's 1 story, maybe 3 to 4 bedrooms, because I don't want to just be by myself. I at least want to rent out 2 rooms. The cost of living out here, it's going to be more expensive, like we said. And then, of course, the mortgage, it's just going to be crazy. And then, of course, the utilities and insurance, it's going to start adding up. So I know for a fact that I need the help, like we can't do it ourselves, even though I make good money. That's the one thing that a lot of people don't even think about. Like I make reasonable amount of money. If it was 5 years ago, I would have bought 2 houses already.
You could have afforded that.
That's how big the difference of the gap as far as like where the finances. Yeah, it went. The inflation went too much. Eggs are super expensive right now. We can't even buy eggs anymore.
Bro.
I love eggs.
I love
eggs, bro.
And gasoline is super expensive. Everything's more taxed as far as like the sales tax went up. Everything went up. And of course, like I make, I'm not going to say how much I make, but I make a good amount of money to the point where now I feel like I almost went backwards without the fault of my own. Like I work every day And I have savings account where it's a good amount, but yet because of inflation, it's almost like
It's like outpacing you.
Yeah, exactly. You have to almost like triple, or if not like double, or if not triple what you actually what you have in your bank account, or if
11K a month, baby. 11K a month is what you got to make right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's super crazy. Yeah, but hopefully I do get the house, and I would love to have you as a roommate,
we'll
bro.
have a freaking podcast every single day.
Right? I would love to have Ramzeigh.
5-hour podcast episodes.
You know what? I might have potential roommates for you too. I know my sister and my brother-in-law are trying to get out of their apartment. I mean, they're paying like what, $1,600-$1,700 for their apartment. And it's a 1-bedroom, 1 bath.
Wow.
So it's like, oh yeah, I know. I mean, you know, they were talking to me about getting a house, and I was like, bro, I'm just waiting for this market to crash before I even think about like getting a house or putting some money down. But
hopefully
that's me though.
Yeah, if they're because I already know you guys to begin with, and I know your sister.
You know my sister. That's right. That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So it'll be an easy move for them if they do come in and do like a year or whatever, or however long because my plan is to keep the house for 2 years, and then depending on the market, refinance it. If I can't refinance it, just basically keep saving and then buy another house, and then rent out the whole house by itself, and then have that house pay half of the mortgage, or if not some of the mortgage, to my second house.
Yeah.
But it's all a numbers game, and of course it's all like putting your priorities straight too. Me and Omar were actually talking about finances before you actually came in, and I'm like, bro, like now it's just like you have to like literally just stick to what you want to do financially, because if you're not, you get stuck in this little platform of like, okay, I'm not going anywhere in my life anymore. And it's just so hard in California.
Sometimes it feels like that because of like these crazy numbers now. You know, you feel like damn, like, am I going to do something in my life? Is it even possible now? You know, it's discouraging sometimes.
Oh, it's very discouraging.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, I work a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, like I have yet to buy my first house. Like, how is this possible? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like,
see, that's self-explanatory right there. That says a lot right there. What you just said, you know, like you work. I know you have your own business. You work a lot, bro, and I see you working, bro. Like you work like almost 7 days a week, bro, every day.
Yeah.
And for you to say that says a lot.
Yeah. And then,
I was gonna say, what about us poor souls out here?
Yeah, especially if you're self-employed, bro. Taxes get you hard,
nasty.
Bro,
they get you nasty.
Gets you so, because you have your business and then you have your personal, so they tax you on both sides. So I'm like, bro, like you have to navigate life almost like, okay, if I buy this goes as a write-off, and you have to always keep a list of every single thing, because if not, Uncle Sam just takes it all. Like, and if they could take more, like last year's taxes, they actually sent me a letter asking me for another close to $3,000. On my personal, I had already paid around $8,000 on my personal, not my business. My personal was $8,000 around there, and they're asking me for another $3,000, and I'm like, bro, what the hell?
Where'd this come from?
Like, where are you getting like this idea that I have this much money?
Yeah,
because you're taxing me on both sides, my business and my personal. I get my business because my business accumulates the profits and accumulates the numbers, but my personal, I put myself on salary. Like, numbers haven't changed from the last couple of years. So how are you willing to tax me more, knowing that I made a certain amount of money because I put myself on a salary? Like, it's the same number every month. Nothing's going to change. I'm not going to make more money or less money. And I was like, nah. So I spoke to my tax guy, and he's like, let's write a letter and let's see if we could actually avoid you paying more taxes. And luckily, via that letter, I was only able to like pay like $200 more.
Hell yeah. That's right, tax guy.
Yeah, but $200 though. That's still $200. I'm like, bro, like, where is this? These concepts. I'm like, bro, like, what? Where? Like,
you shouldn't even take that $200.
Exactly.
That's right.
I'm like paying for everything already. If you lend me money, I get taxed on it. If I lend you money, I get taxed on it too.
What the?
That's how California works.
Oh man,
California wants a tax for the air you breathe, bro.
Yeah. And then I remember
they ain't getting their money from me.
What was it? Venmo also. Venmo
Yeah.
started taxing as well.
At a certain number, though.
Yeah, certain. I think it was $600.
Yeah.
So if you start passing around a margin a month, you get taxed on it. Because my mom owns a salon. and a lot of people would do the Venmo or I think there was more Venmo at the time, and she basically had to stop because she was going to start getting taxed on it. I'm like, bro, they find a way wherever the money's coming in.
Yeah.
They're going to find a way to not only take it from the person that's giving you the money, but also the person taking the money. So I'm like, it's just crazy. Like how we basically have to live now, as far as like, we live just to work for the things that before in the past were so much easier to accumulate. And I get there are certain people that are lazy and they don't want to do anything with their lives. And unfortunately, when you hear the millennials are lazy and they don't do this or that, I'm like, no, there's a good group of us that it's not because we don't want to, it's because it's almost not even possible anymore to live a certain lifestyle that before, like me and Omar were saying, you could live on a wage where you could work at, like he used to work at a Guitar Center. You could actually live a not a luxurious life, but it would be decent enough for you to own a little house and then start building, like whatever you need to build.
To some people, that is the American dream.
Yeah. But now it's
just to be able to do that.
Yeah, but now it's just almost impossible.
It's almost out of reach now.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like now I have to buy a house and now basically rent out the rooms, knowing that I have the money to pay the mortgage, but I'm not going to live just to pay a mortgage too.
Crazy.
Like you have to live and honestly think to yourself, like, are you living just to pay the mortgage, or are you living and understanding that logic that things could happen? That too,
you got that in the back of your head.
Yeah, exactly. So I have to keep saving, just in case, So, okay, is it fun to live with strangers? Not really.
No.
But unfortunately, it is what it is. Like we are getting older, and we have to just be a little bit more responsible, like to the point where it's just uncomfortable now. Like you have to live uncomfortably to then one day get to the point where to live just a normal, comfortable life.
Yeah.
Just to live with another mortgage too as well.
True.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like in the 70s, I think, or even early 80s, dude, like you could have a minimum wage job and own a house.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy to me.
Like today, that's not impossible.
Oh no,
that's impossible.
Not even an apartment.
Not even a room.
Not even a room, dude. With a
Not
minimum
even a room,
wage job, like part time, dude. Like because that's. I mean, most of the corporations now are switching over to part time workers. Because then, hey, if you're working only like 10 hours a week, and I got like 50 of you lying around, I don't have to pay anyone for insurance. I don't have to give you any benefits. And because of that, corporations will make more, but the general populace will like. Even if they want to work full time, they can't get a full time job. And at minimum wage, I was like, how the fuck are you supposed to buy a house? Like that doesn't make sense.
Unheard,
Yeah, it's a different way of living now.
It's a different world now.
Well, it's California. In reality, I want to say manageable, but it's just like
it's tough.
It's tough. Like if you can make it in California, bro,
you can make it any state.
Basically any state, because you're like always on the go. It's like always like, okay, today I'm going to do this. Today I'm going to do this because I have to now. It's no longer, I'm going to take a vacation. I'm going to take the family to the park. I'm like, no, you got to work. Like,
I mean, dude, what was it? The other day I was looking at like the cheapest places to live, and
I saw videos like that.
You saw that too? Yeah, dude. Fuck India. Like, if you go to India, bro.
I already look Indian.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. You fit in, and it's about $400 a month to live a pretty good life. $400. Apparently, if you like have $2,000, $2,500 a month, you're a millionaire out there. So it's like, there are easier ways to do this thing. Like even Thailand. I think Thailand is
Thailand's
cheap. Dude, you know what I mean?
And the Philippines.
And the Philippines. That's right.
Philippines are cheap too.
But a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, but we don't live out there.
Hey, I was just gonna say we'd fit in just fine. You just gotta go there. You
gotta toughen up a little bit.
Toughen up a little bit, learn the language.
Go live with Manny Pacquiao. That's it.
There you go, Manny Pacquiao. That's right.
He could protect me.
He can, dude. Just believe in him, and he will come.
Yeah, but it's unfortunate, like that's I guess that's my goal for this year. Hopefully I'll be able to get the house, and like I said, if you're wanting to rent out the room, bro, like
let's do it, bro.
That would make me so happy, just because one, I already trust you enough to like it's going to be my house. You know, that's literally all my stuff. You know, you can't bring in strangers, you know, like as far as like whomever, because they could steal or if not break stuff. And that's kind of my worry is that because I do listings for a living, like when I do photos, and I've gone to houses where I'm with the realtor and I didn't know that the tenant of the house was supposed to move out already. And they're basically going back and forth. And I'm in the middle of their conversation. I'm like literally just with my camera, just waiting to go into the house. And they're like, well, we didn't know we needed to clean and we didn't. And so they're just kind of back and forth arguing. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to deal with a renter like that if I do rent out my house. And I've gone to certain houses where they've destroyed the house. Like,
oh, yeah, dude. I've cleaned houses where they destroyed the house, dude.
Cleans houses,
yeah, that's right.
They literally destroy the walls. They'll destroy the carpets. They'll destroy the kitchen. And then your whatever investment of whatever savings you thought you were getting from the rent, you're now having to put it all back to fix it up. Yep. But yeah, that's kind of where my head goes into. So if like I could have you and another person that I trust, I'm like, bro, that's for me, that's just everything. Like,
is someone responsible?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. And I think it'll be cool. It's not like I'm gonna be at the house. I work every day. I'm basically, this is where I live.
You know what? Why buy a house? Just, you know what? You got one of them empty rooms down there,
right?
Just put a bed in there,
right?
Yeah?
Just put a bed.
Like, I mean, legally, can you do that?
I don't think so because I don't own it. It's a commercial building.
But
who would know?
Who would know?
I don't know. Who would know? I don't know.
You know, I get like a futon, so it's not that conspicuous.
I've slept on this couch.
That's what I'm saying,
I've slept on a couch.
There you go, man.
I mean, like in my head, like I've often fantasized about buying like a property or something, and my brain was always like, can it double up as like an office space? Maybe I can like maybe I can get an office and then sleep in there. You know what I mean?
I've actually thought about converting. I think I also spoke to you about this. Like I want to convert the garage into either another room and then rent it out, or if not, convert it to just like an office space and basically just do the podcast there. But yeah, those are just like little goals here and there that I'm now kind of like contemplating like before I buy the house. And
we're gonna do it, brother. Whoops, sorry. We're gonna do it, bro.
We're gonna fix it up.
We're gonna fix it up.
That's right.
We're gonna get this star power. Hey, we're gonna do it, bro.
That's right. Hold on.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've been waiting to use that one, dude.
That's a nice sound. I like that sound.
Yeah, that's a good one. That was the first one, right? That was the first one.
Yeah.
I never heard that one.
You haven't heard that one?
I don't think I've ever heard
this one is my second favorite. I only got to use it once.
What is that?
It's crickets.
They're crickets, bro.
Crickets?
Just cricket, dude.
They're crickets.
Yeah, dude. We're going to do it, though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, hopefully this year, God willing.
In Acton? You're going to buy it in Acton?
Yeah, I'm going to buy in Acton. I live in Acton, don't worry.
That's right. It's closer to home.
I used to live in Acton, by the way.
Oh, really?
As a kid.
Oh, really?
A little kid, dude.
Oh, okay.
I was surrounded by weddles, dude.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, that's kind of where we're kind of the idea why I'm saying that I live in Acton, because the topic of Acton came up on the other podcast.
Oh, yeah?
As far as like when I would go and do a house, there's a demographic of people that live there because it's ranch style and they're nicer, bigger houses, and they're coming in from the Midwest, or if not the South, or if not like Texas. So they have this like, they still have that culture mentality. And of course, Todd is white, and we were just saying like, we live in Acton. That's kind of where he's coming in from that phrase.
You have to watch the previous podcast to get it. Okay. It's an inside joke.
Yeah, I haven't posted it yet, so.
Oh, damn it! I'm already like, go watch it.
Yeah, we just did it.
By the time this episode's dropped, the other one would already be dropped.
Yeah. Hopefully next week I'll have time. I'm looking at my calendar. I'm like, all right, when could I listen to a 4-hour podcast?
Oh man. Well, I mean, you drive down to Long Beach all the time, man.
But the thing is that I also like to look at the expressions of the people. Like when we're talking, like, that makes sense as far as like how it could come off on Instagram, each platform and everything. Cause I am making them like vertical for the clips and everything. So I have to actually look at everything. But we'll see. I'll sit down.
Yeah, the format that I do it when it comes to that. I'm more of a listener.
Yeah,
I like to listen to podcasts. Yeah. I'm not really much of a watch.
Yeah,
I like to listen. So when I have the episode pretty much ready, I like to listen to it a little bit. But I scroll through though. I try not to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I scroll through, and I'm like, okay, bomb.
Yeah.
Anthony's the one that watches, though. So we got that, you know, like 50-50 format type thing going on.
Which is good, though.
Yeah.
That's very good. I love watching video format podcasts, and then I like listening to it. I'm more of a watcher and a listener because I like to see the reactions of someone when they laugh or when something happens that's dramatic. I like seeing it, you know. It's just like, for me, it's visually pleasing to my eyes. And then of course you're hearing it too, because I do drive a lot, but when I'm actually at my house or I'm here editing, I'll put it on the TV and I'm actually doing the both listening. And then when something happens, I'll turn around like, oh, that was cool. And like, I like seeing the reactions. That's kind of where I go after, I guess.
Yeah.
And of course for Instagram, it's visual. So that's kind of where I'm like very meticulous as far as like what type of clips I'm going to come after. On the last pod, freaking Todd was almost crying. So I'll probably post that one.
Got a little emotional or what?
No, I loved it. No, I was just like, oh, dude, this is what this podcast needs.
Yeah. Little tears.
just a single tear. Just one.
Just one tear.
Just one.
One's enough.
One is enough.
One tear is enough.
No, but it was nice. It was nice hearing him get vulnerable and like talk about like how grateful he was. It was, you know, triggered by the idea of gratitude.
Yeah, with his kids.
Okay.
With his kids.
Yeah.
And,
Of course.
and I was like, oh wow, like I feel that, you know.
But that's what I mean.
That'll
like,
get any old dude.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like just the visual of it, it's different than actually just
you're right.
hearing it.
You're right.
Because when you're hearing it, you're not seeing it. You know, like his eyes. You know that. You know, where they get a little watery.
True. You're right about that.
So that's kind of where
I see what you mean.
know,
Why you like the visuals.
Yeah. I just like seeing before hearing sometimes.
Yeah.
And then that's where you get the concept. I'm like, oh, now I'm invested. Now
Absolutely.
I want to know.
You're right.
Now I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that podcast for me is one of my favorite ones so far, just because I haven't had someone at that age group in a while. I used to do them more often when I first started, which they were more mature as far as like the actual conversations, but I didn't want to get stuck in that format because I started to notice that when I would ask my friends, they were like, oh, but I'm not an entrepreneur and I'm not a business person or I'm not this. And it became more of like, well, that wasn't the idea of the podcast to begin with. You know, like I wanted it to be where I just had a conversation with someone I feel comfortable with and that was it. But it became that because of the guests that I was bringing in the beginning. And now, of course, it's going to be becoming more of a random podcast where it's just like whomever I want to invite and that's it. If you do something that I like or if you have something going on with your life, cool. But that's not the idea of the podcast. You know, Omar right now is just a friend. I brought him in. And I was actually going to have him in before he was actually just the switcher. But unfortunately, that it just became that I needed someone on the board that day. And then Enrique was the one that was on the guest. For that podcast. And I'm like, bro, like I need you to be a guest as well. We were talking about it way before Enrique. I was actually on the actual seat. And, you know, I was like, we have to just do it. But that's the format. Like, I don't care that if you're doing something particular, if you are actually doing something particular, cool. It adds on to the podcast, but that's not the idea of the podcast. I just want to have an actual genuine conversation. If it's comical, or if it's inspirational, cool. But it has to already have to feel it before the podcast, you know, like the idea of me having a conversation with you. We have conversations all the time.
All the time.
You know, it's either you're here or we go out and do something. But that's the idea of the podcast. Because if I'm forcing the conversation onto you or you're forcing it onto me, they're going to hear it or if they're going to see it and no one's going to want to listen to my podcast anymore, you know?
That's right.
And there are some people like that too. Like I've noticed that too. That's what I'm learning. I'm like, there are some people that don't like talking and I was one of them. So I can't have somebody like that in my podcast because I don't know how to even maneuver around that as of yet. You know, I'm getting there, but
bro, you just got to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
So sometimes it
but then you get nervous though, because the answers get so short and you don't even have time to actually analyze like, oh, what could I have said this and made it longer? No, there's a yes or no answer.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's no give and take, then it doesn't matter what right questions you ask. It's give and take. Conversation's a two-way road.
Yeah. And see how I was talking right now. And then you basically came in with a solution or a type of a solution. I didn't ask you anything. You just basically, you added on to the actual topic.
naturally.
Yeah, you
naturally.
added on to the conversation without me asking.
You were like, motherfucker, I didn't ask you for your opinion.
right? But that's what I mean.
Thank you.
But thank you for.
Well, that's what I mean. You need that type of person in front of you to
Yeah.
have that type of conversation where it leads into basically an actual conversation.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that certain people aren't even good at that. You're like having that particular type of person that just wants to give you a straight answer or a yes or no answer, or not asking you questions, or basically not giving you a solution as far as like what you're actually talking about without even asking a question, like what Omar just did. It just came naturally, which then made the conversation flow into a different topic, or it could flow into a different topic.
I just like telling people what to do. That's what it is.
Which the dynamic works though. The dynamic works. If you
It
have
does.
someone that can contrast, have the contrast, that's even better. You know, that's what I like. Me and Omar have disagreements, cool. But he's a good talker, so I'm just gonna. He's more than welcome to be invited for the switcher or whatever. But it just adds on to conversations that could lead into other conversations. But like I said, I'm learning. Unfortunately, like there are going to be people that are, I didn't know. Like I don't know what's going to happen later on. If it works out, it works out. But if it doesn't, I'm like, bro, we'll see how far I can go.
I was gonna say on that topic, Ramzeigh, my friend,
Yes.
your experience in talking, like, were you? Because I know you're a musician. You make beats, you make music, you produce it. I mean, that requires some sort of like social awareness. But like,
Yeah.
would you say that? I mean, was that something that was difficult for you to like try to know how to talk, what to say next? Like
In the beginning, it was. I was a little bit like, I'm like in the middle, like introvert, extrovert. You know, I'm in the middle.
okay,
You know, when the music, especially when I wanted to work with somebody, I originally I started out playing drums.
oh,
Played drums for
drummer boy.
25 plus years now. So you're not talking, playing the drums.
That's right.
And they usually put you in the corner somewhere.
Yeah,
Hey, boy,
I
sit over here and
see.
shut up and play the drums, you know? So there you go. And so I wasn't, you know, I was like when you look at a group of a band, I think that as far as visually, the drummer's probably like always in the corner somewhere, you know,
or behind the whole band.
behind somebody, you know? Yeah, that's right. You're right. But little by little, I got into producing it. So I was like, I kind of like had to get out of my comfort zone for that, to collab or whatever, you know? I didn't do much collabing because then again, like you said, I was learning how to talk to people.
Yeah.
You know, I was learning, and I didn't know how to talk to people in the beginning, how to approach them. I'll be nervous. I was hella nervous, bro.
I feel
I would
that.
get nervous playing drums, bro, even though I had like 15 plus 25 plus years playing. I still get nervous if I'm going back there. You know, even though I play those songs hundreds of times, I still get nervous because I love it that much.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
because of
It's-
course
it's
you
the
want
butterflies.
You want to be good. It's
Yeah.
excitement is what I call.
Yeah.
That nervousness, at least in the beginning, for me, like I would feel it too. And
Yeah.
I was a saxophone player, so like,
Oh.
yeah, back Kenny G
Sexy.
when I was 7 years old, just
AKA saxophone.
saxophone. Hey man, like I love that instrument, and I would get on stage and I would feel it. I'd start getting jittery, and I'm like, oh man, what is this? And I don't know what happened, who told me, where it was, but someone said, hey man, just reframe it. You're not nervous, you're excited, because the feeling is the same. You're feeling the
Yeah.
exact same way when you're nervous and you're excited. It's that fight or flight response that's like, yo, you got to get out of here before something happens. And I just learned how to change what I would say about it. So like every time I'd, get in front of some people, I'd start feeling the little tricklies all over you, and then I'd be like, oh, I'm excited. Like,
Yeah.
and that I would hype myself up. I would just reframe it. And
Yeah, that's dope. Took me a while to do that, to learn that for me though. I used to play in church, drums
hey,
for that many years. And there was a couple times where there was like special events, like huge event where like a couple thousand people will be there. We will rent out like a convention center, and bro, we will be backstage. I'll be like, and my dumb ass would drink one of these and make it worse. And I'll be like, all like, jittery, nervous, all that. And like, bro, like, Yeah, I'll be so nervous, bro. And plus, like, I was kind of like an introvert still around those times. But fast forward, podcasting kind of brought me out.
There it is.
Brought me out of that whole shell, you know. I admit, when we first started podcasting, there was a lot of yeah, those stutters.
That's normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's normal.
That's normal.
There's-
You're practicing a new skill.
Yeah, I still get a little bit, but not as bad as when I first started.
No, that's good. That's
And
improvement.
it's a learning experience. Your talk, your flow, your words, your like how to bring up topics or questions, whatever. How to talk to someone that you barely met, like when we first met, and kind of dropped me out into what's that? Introvert and then extrovert. There you go. It escaped my mind right now, but it's dope. I'm learning how to talk to people now. Learning how to talk to people that I look up to.
Hell yeah.
That I would probably be so nervous trying to talk to these people.
Absolutely.
Like at the karaoke place, it was like a huge podcaster there. Super big, right? And I was with the guys, and I was not nervous at all.
Oh, good.
I literally told the guys, I was like, they showed up. They're here. And I told the guys, I'm going to go introduce myself.
All right. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, you
That's
know?
right. That's progress right there, man.
And like, he was the main dude. He was the main dude. I went straight to the main guy. Like, that's the guy.
Was it Joe Rogan?
I wish.
Me too, man. I love Joe Rogan.
That'd be awesome.
But it's so dope. Literally. And then my brother and Anthony, they followed through. They were behind me, like, let's go together. But I took the initiative, you know, took the opportunity, like, I'm going to go meet this guy.
Hell yeah.
Come with me, you know, type thing. And that's exactly what happened. And like the old Ramzeigh probably would not do that.
He would have been shaking in the back.
I'll be right there like, oh no, what am I doing here? You know?
Oh, bro.
Why am I here?
That's awesome, though.
You know?
No, yeah, but I got a huge tip for you then. Just because this is my secret. I'm giving away my trademark secret to everybody right here, live in this podcast.
Ooh.
So I mean, because you had said something like, how do you ask questions to somebody you've never met before, and like the idea of thinking of what you're going to say next and all of that. A lot of times, like you said, you feel the nerves, especially when you're in front of somebody you've never met before. And the nerves, you're more focused on the nerves than you're focusing on what to say. So the idea, at least my idea, and this is what most people will say when they first meet me, they're like, bro, like, I feel like you're my cousin or my long lost friend or something. And it's because of that. Anytime I ever approach somebody, I treat them like I've known them for years. Like in my brain, I'm already like, oh, I've been your best friend for years, Ramses. So because of that, like, why is there like a wall between us? And it's again a mental game. Like you have to be able to believe it, because it's not enough to say. You can't just be like, well, I'm your best friend. No, you have to be like, oh, bro, how do you act in front of your best friend?
Yeah.
How do you maneuver around him? How do you talk to your best friend? How do you like, you just act like it.
Yeah.
And when you act like it, then you are it. And then therefore there's no struggle. There's no more thinking. There's no more guessing. It's just natural. Like you said, you and Irvin have been talking outside of the podcast for a long time now. So there's a little bit more level of comfort. But if, like I said, if you were on my podcast,
It's coming soon.
you'd probably be like, oh shit, it's Omar and I've never been on his podcast. And then you just tell yourself, well, he's my bro. I've been bros with him for years now, even if it's not true. You just feel it, and it is.
Yeah. No, and you also have to have natural charisma too, as far as like if you're going to develop those skills. Charisma kind of like feeds into the idea that you're confident enough in yourself for the person that is in front of you to actually see it as well. So if I'm nervous and I don't even know what I'm going to say next, and I'm kind of leaving you in the dark as far as like, okay, that was a question, and now please keep going, and I'm literally just sitting here. It's gonna make you nervous, and it's just gonna be awkward. It's just that idea too. But I think Omar has natural charisma. I think he's just that type of person that he just has energy to just give out. And I think you get energy from conversations though. Like
I do. I wake up.
Yeah, you wake up.
I wake the fuck
I
up,
hope.
dude.
I hope you wake up.
No, I can literally be. Actually, it's funny because I will make that excuse sometimes. Like, I'm too tired to go. I'm too tired to do this. And then the minute I'm in it, I'm like, yo, what is up? I'm here. I am awake. What's up? Let's party.
Yeah.
Let's do something, man.
Yeah.
But I've always known him to be that way, though. He's always been that person where it's easy for him just to talk to you, even if you're not even talking.
Bro, but this is what I'm saying. It's because since I was a little kid, that's just what I've always like. Anytime I'd approach somebody, I'd be like, bro, I've already known you for years.
Yeah.
It was, I don't even remember how that happened. I want to say it was unconscious just because I wanted people to like me.
Yeah,
so it's
it could
like,
be.
you know, I was like, oh, I want you to like me. How do I make you like me? Well, if I'm your friend, you'll like me, right? Like that's how that works.
So are you saying you're wanting the spotlight, or are you saying you're almost like a people pleaser kind of thing?
I think it came from people pleasing.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. No, I definitely know I have people tendencies.
Because I remember when I first met you, it was at an event or at a party or whatever it was, and back then I was very reserved, like to the point where
absolutely.
Back then I was to the point where it almost seemed like I didn't even like you for the first time that I met you, just because I was that guy that just
mean resting bitch face.
Literally did not want to see or look into your eyes. I was that guy. I was like literally just, I didn't want to be around people to that extent where I know that's where I could say now that it could have been viewed that way, you know, like, oh, he's just that type of guy that he just, I don't know, he looks annoyed or something, you know?
Yeah.
But when I met Omar, like I said, I didn't even have to say anything. Like I stayed just as quiet. He was just talking. I think he was just talking to himself, to be honest with you. But he was at least talking, you know, he's
not wrong. I probably was.
He was just talking, you know, he might've been talking to me and I might've been just acting like I was listening, because then back then I would say I was listening, but it would have seemed via my body language or my face or even the responses that I was giving him, it would have seemed that I didn't even want to talk to him or I was ignoring him. But he's that type of guy regardless, if with the podcast or conversations or if he's in the street or whatever, because he just wants to have a conversation.
Oh, bro, I love people like you, though. You know what I mean? Like back in that day, I was like, oh, dude's like, shut off, like just not talking to nobody. Hold on, let me see if I can open them up. So that's what I'm saying. No, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I love that shit because again, that gives me an opportunity, for one, to take you out of your box, but also I appreciate your box because it's like, oh, dude, like we talked about how maybe, you know, I what the fuck am I talking about? Because I was a people pleaser, you know, because of my background, because of the way I grew up, like that's how I learned how to talk to people and be charismatic and have confidence, because it was like, bro, if I fuck up in one way, you're going to like excommunicate me from the tribe and I won't survive. And so these people pleaser tendencies would come out and I'd be like, okay, this is survival now. But when you don't have that, you also learn something, a very, 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 very helpful skill, which is boundaries. Understanding that, bro, I don't want to talk to you. Oh, I don't want to do that. Why would I do that? And that's again, confidence for me is to say, you know what? No, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go do this instead. Yeah. And you know what? If I don't feel like entertaining your bullshit, I won't. Yeah. And that's not something I learned until later on in life, which I'm still learning. So it's like, you know, it's give and take, man. Double-edged sword with everything.
Yeah. And I think you had brought up something as far as like circumstantial, as far as like where your understanding of a conversation was led into, as far as like how your background of growing in the household, you know, like basically that level of confidence or level of just wanting to please somebody. It was a circumstance that some people may look down onto it, but basically became this person, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You know? So if you like what you see, then it's like, oh, then there was no negativity.
Yeah, exactly.
There was nothing bad about what happened.
Exactly. And in the same circumstances how we met, because we always talk, we always bring up that topic, you know, as far as like how I met Omar. And I don't think they listen to my podcast.
I don't think so either.
I don't think they... Omar, you could tell a story, por favor, because it's harder for me to spew out information that I don't really care about.
No, totally. Yeah. So like my boy, like I said, he was dating a very close family
Yeah, but switch it to your face,
por sorry, that's right. You want to see me. That's right. No, yeah.
Give me the laughter.
Oh, dude, hold on.
Wrong one. Oh, no.
There you go.
Oh, bro. So like I said, very close family friend. I mean, like these people took care of me, and mostly my little siblings.
Story time.
But these people, like I said, they were very involved in my family. We were close family friends up until, I don't know, a few years ago. And, it's family stuff. So it was kind of like, okay, there was a separation. But for the most part, like, I grew up with these kids. I grew up with this, essentially ex-girlfriend. And that's how I essentially met him at this party. I was like, oh, bro, what's up? Like, I've never seen you before.
I think it was a graduation party.
It was a graduation party. That's right. And I was like, oh, I think you were the one with the guitar. And
no, she had brought it up.
She brought it out.
Yeah, she brought it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was basically showing me off.
That's what it was, bro. And I was still a novice. At playing guitar. So I was like, bro, that's why I wanted to get to know him, because I was like, hey, maybe you have some knowledge or something cool that you can show me. And from there, the friendship popped off. But like, yeah, man, that whole situation and them not approving of you and constantly talking shit about you, like,
tell him though,
damn,
tell him.
why?
Can I?
Tell him, bro.
Dude, oh man, it was a shame, dude. Like I said, it was because of his, immigrant background. They were just like, este inmigrante no te va a cuidar. They're pretty much not going to take care of, this individual, like my family friend. Which I mean, yes, they were pretty well off. I want to say they were pretty well off. They had they had a daycare and everything. They're making 10 G's a month type thing. So like, but they come from a similar background. They were immigrants as well.
Yeah. And they people that forgot about their past.
Exactly. And that's, I guess, where the real sadness from all of this from. Because it's like, dude, like, did you forget? Did you forget where you came from? And because of that, I was like, oh, this is kind of fucked up. Why are you treating him this way? And that's why, again, I'm still friends with him. I don't really, they still ask about me because my sister still talks to them, but like, I don't talk to them, Like we had not a falling out, but more like I don't care. I'm just going to go do my own thing a long time ago. And for personal reasons, maybe I'll talk about it in another podcast.
Hey,
but right now is Irvin's spotlight because of this event, though. Irvin is where he's at. That motivation to what? Okay, I don't want just to be an immigrant with no money that can't take care of my wife or kids or buy a house or do any of that type of stuff that, again, is the reason why they didn't approve of him in the first place. And I felt that type of judgment. I still do. Like, when I'm like thinking about, hey, what if I talk to a lady? First thing comes in conversation is where you live. I'm like, oh shit, with my mom. And then they're like, oh, okay, so you're broke. Or if I tell them I'm a musician, it's same exact thing. Oh, I'm playing guitar. And they're just like, oh, then you definitely don't have money because you're not famous. If you were playing guitar and famous, that's a different story. But for the most part, they don't really care about your feelings. At least people who are searching for material wealth. I'm not gonna discredit the whole world and say there aren't people out there that would marry you if you're poor. Maybe there is, but like I haven't met them, or else I'd be married, right? Welcome to my TED Talk. No, but genuinely, I think you made the best out of that situation, Irvin, because out of everybody that's known you, I don't know how many people you have now from that time that still know you, but like. I look at Irvin and I'm just like, holy shit, dude. Like, if I could tell that guy, go back in time and be like, bro, Irvin, like, don't trip, dude. Fucking break up with her. Go fucking use that as motivation. Like, you're going to be all right. It'd be trippy, I think, if you can go back in time and tell yourself
it would be very interesting for me to actually kind of like see myself as far as like, I guess my visual, you would never tell where I was at in my head, because it does affect you as a person. I would say not just as a guy, as a girl, if you're kind of always being put down in a way where like, because of circumstances that have nothing to do with your decisions as far as like where you were born or what type of careers you could get into, because at the time I couldn't find work. Like I think I maybe had a year or two out of high school, and she was just graduating high school at the time. And I understood that I was 2 years or 3 years apart from her. And the conversation was always, no, I don't want you to be with her because you are wanting to get married because you're older than her. And in my head, I'm like, bro, I wasn't even halfway. I'm not even close to thinking this way, So I understand now because when Hispanic families are very, very strict when it comes to certain things when it comes to their daughters, which I understand now. Back then, I understood, but not to the point where it was being disowned as far as like, we're going to treat you this way because of things you have no control over. That was basically my only, I wouldn't say I have any type of resentment anymore because it was such a long time ago.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I would say it was more of I guess it was more I understood, but I didn't understand because I was so young.
Yeah.
And like Omar said, because of circumstances, you could either look at them in a way where it could maybe lead you into this victim mentality.
Yeah.
But for me, it was more like, you know what? I hear what you're saying and I see what you're doing. So let me at least show you what you're basically not showing me via your respect.
Yeah.
So from there, I basically, like he said, I used it as motivation, not only in that relationship because it happened frequently. And that's kind of where my mentality kind of goes off of when it comes to like traditional family values and traditional gender roles and all that stuff. Because it's when you have it easy, you're not going to live that experience because right now society is basically everything's comfort. You know, everything's really comfortable as far as like how we live our lives and how we, and even though we were kind of like having this conversation about California and all this stuff, but still there's a lot of people that are still living at home, you know, not because of circumstances, because of their comfort is so comfortable at home and everything's given to them, everything's provided. So when you live that type of lifestyle, even when you're at that age, you start to look at the world a little bit differently. And I think that's where everything is now kind of going towards right now, because everything is comfortable for both gender parties, men and women. And unfortunately, it's not until you start becoming or wanting to become the man or the woman that you want to become into, as far as like if you want to get married or you want to fall into a relationship, like Omar is saying, like if he finds a girl right now and she likes him genuinely, there's always going to be a timeline for him because he's going to be looked at, oh, you're going to need to provide something for me long term, because women don't normally, they normally don't go into a relationship thinking, oh, I'm just going to date him for like 3 months or 6 months. No. You know, they're thinking longevity. That's kind of their mentality. Like
unless they're young, that's what I'm saying. When you're young and dumb, it's all about love.
Yeah, when you're younger, of course, you're not thinking that far ahead. And of course, my relationship started very young. You know, that was I think that was like, as far as like, we actually lasted a good minute. It was like 2 to 3 years. Yeah. Wow. And it was a lot to take in, bro. Like I got stories.
Oh, bro. Like I had a similar, it's funny when I almost said the name but in that situation, in that household, I lived something similar too. I was going to say the last relationship I was in was about, oh my Lord, about 8 years ago now. Wow. And yeah, it's I've been out in the desert. Literally. It's been for a long time now. But before then, you know, I think I was like 24. I was dating someone who was 21, and she still lived at home. But you know, her dad was like the sergeant chief of, you know, Antelope Valley Sheriff's Office, all of that, and they lived in a very nice place. And I just remember they just did not like me. They disapproved of me.
Does her name start with a T?
No. I'll tell you later. I'll tell you the name later.
I was like, after yours, Omar, I'm gonna say one too.
Please, yeah, because again, we need to let them know out there that you know what, that our intentions are good. Yeah, it's just circumstances will say otherwise. Like, hey, man, I was just trying to provide this girl some love, you know, like some loving, you know, and the mom was the worst, man. I was like, it's funny because they were mixed, you know. The mom was like Polynesian and the dad was white. And oh my God, they just hated me because I was brown. I mean, technically I'm white, but for all you who don't know, I'm Mexican. I'm full Mexican. My parents came from Jalisco, Guadalajara. Hey, so hey, that's like straight across the border. And they knew that. And even though I don't have an accent, I don't look it, I don't talk it, you know, like unless I speak Spanish, most people don't even know. They just were like, oh, he's Mexican? No. And I'm like, dude, the mom's Polynesian. What's going on, dude? So all to say is your intentions can be good, but sometimes the outside world will tell you No. I don't know why you think that. This is what it is.
Yeah.
And
I think for guys, we realize those things a lot sooner than, and this is going to sound sexist, but women, because we're the ones looked at as a certain means of providing. Even though women are working more and they're going to college more, but yet they're still wanting to look at their equals as far as like when they fall into a relationship, you're either going to be in the same circumstances of finances, or if not, I want you a little bit better than where I'm at. It's never going to be where you're going to be, I'm going to take care of you unless I see some potential that you're doing something, that potential as far as like the potential of you making more money or you actually having something in mind in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, the experiences that I had in the beginning basically built calluses for me to say, hey, I get it. I understand. It sucks. So let me just focus. And that's it. Like there was no distractions anymore as far as like, I get how it works because I lived it directly to the point where, man, it was
bro. And you know what? And we're both sensitive. You know, we play the guitar.
Yeah,
you know, we're musicians.
We're creatives.
We're creative. So it was like, oh, dude, like, what's going on?
Yeah,
like,
right.
You know, and you just get a little colder.
Yeah,
You just get a little colder.
Yeah.
And then you're cold.
And then you're cool. But yeah, it happens. You know, like, but like that's what I mean. You could look at it as a down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but if I wouldn't have gone through that, I would have never met Omar either.
There you go.
And that's an upside.
Hey.
If I wouldn't have gone through that, I wouldn't have understood, hey, there are still people like that as far as like, they are just ignorant, you know, in that sense. I'm like, I understand where the culture is because I'm literally that culture as far as like Hispanic culture. I understand that I'll probably be very strict if my future daughter comes in with this guy, you know, like, but I'm also going to view him as far as like, okay, what is he doing?
There you go.
You know, what are his plans? And unfortunately, I had known that family for years. Like, I'm going to say a decade at least. So it's not like they had just met me like a year prior, a couple months prior. They literally saw me growing up as a little kid to a teenager to a young adult to then being in my early 20s. So for me, it felt like, okay, where exactly are you seeing this type of treatment that you're giving me to be then, I guess, respected in other eyes? Because it wasn't just me seeing this. It was basically the people around us. And I remember when it ended, there were so many people that said, man, I am so happy that you guys are no longer together. And unfortunately, this is going to sound very mean. And hopefully, I don't really care if they do listen or not. But the community around us, as far as like when we were around that community, they were saying, man, I'm so happy that you're no longer with her. Because that family is trouble. Like literally giving me a warning afterwards. I'm like, where
were you before?
Yeah, where was the warning before I actually fell into this? But it happens, you know, like we were so young. I was young, you know, like I wasn't thinking that far ahead. Like I was like they said that they were already thinking that I was gonna get married and all this other stuff. I'm like, bro, I'm barely trying to get through college, you know? Like that's where my mentality was. Like I don't have a dollar because I can't work. And that's kind of where I started pushing the guitar lessons. I started building my businesses.
There you go.
Because of that whole argument, as far as like they're only judging me based off of not my character, but based off of what I could provide. And that's where my focus then led into. I'm like, this has to mean something, even if it's negative, you know. But unfortunately, that's how, as guys, we learn too. We have to learn off of circumstances that are like that in order for us to actually kind of go and actually do the things that we need to do, because they are hard. You know, if we live a comfortable life, we're going to just kind of live a comfortable lifestyle that we're no longer going to push ourselves to live uncomfortably to get what we need to get to.
Ooh.
And then like, that's what I mean. Like we live in a comfortable society. So that's what it is. Now everything's led off utopian mindset. You know, everybody's very mindful as far as like your feelings, my feelings and everything, which is fine. But without the idea of like, hey, I need to tell you the truth. And unfortunately, it's going to sound mean right now and it may hurt, but it's also, it could provide you that boost of energy or that boost of motivation to get you going where you need to go. And that's kind of where I feel, I do feel gratitude towards those circumstances that have happened in my life. And like I said, that wasn't just the only relationship that's happened. It's like literally before her, there's another family, not as bad though. It wasn't as bad, but it led up to that, you know? And then from there, same thing. Like my relationships were always long term. They were always like the 2 to 3 years. And then, but once it started hitting the 2 to 3,
that's right.
That's where they start thinking, okay, where is this going? What could he provide for me? Where are we going in life? And if we have kids, and then if what the what if started popping up rather than, oh, it's just romanticized. Like I'm happy to be around you, and that's all it is. It's all fantasized. Later on, it gets a little bit more dense. I'm like, okay, could he really provide if we have a kid right now, or could he buy a house if we or could we rent a house? You know, like, so for me now it's more, okay, that's what life is. You know, unfortunately, it is what it is for a guy. I know there's going to be a lot of arguments as far as like, oh no, it's not like that anymore, and blah blah blah. But unfortunately, reality literally shows you if you experience it. And if you're given things because there are circumstances that if you have a family that could give you stuff, kudos to you, but you can't make the argument towards the opposite, you know, because I wasn't given things, you know, I had to provide the things for me, like my first cell phone, my first car, like literally I had to pay everything from the beginning.
I relate to you, Irvin, you know that.
Right. But there's a lot of people that can't relate to it, and they'll make the argument, I'm like, no, that's not how it is. I'm like, yo, like you were given things just based off of the foundation of just getting good grades. You know, like, oh, congratulations, you got an A+. We're going to give you a new cell phone. I'm like, I got good grades. I didn't get shit. I'm like, you got good grades because you got good grades because you wanted to get good grades, and that's it.
That's right.
Or if you're going to graduate, you're going to graduate because it's going to benefit you, and there is no lead into like, hey, we're going to treat you to a vacation in Europe, or we're going to treat you to a new car. There was none of that. And there are people that have lived that, which congratulations. At one point, I would want to give that type of experience to my kid in certain circumstances, I guess. But I understand that those people don't understand that lifestyle that I lived, or what you lived, or what Omar lived, to the point where now they're making the argument. I'm like, oh, that's how the real world works. And it's not like that. Men aren't going to be the providers, or men aren't looked at as the providers, or men don't have to be equal to women in order for them to respect the woman to the man. You know, it's just like the hypocrisy, I would say. It's just very, very dense right now, to the point where now young men are listening to this, and now they're hitting their late 20s, their late 30s, their mid 35s, 40s, and they're still in that mentality. I'm like, well, understand you were listening to the wrong knowledge, to the point where you believed it so much, you defended it so much in your head, that just being yourself doesn't mean anything to the opposite sex. You have to become something more. You have to become you have to amplify the better side of yourself.
That's right.
So that you could be attracted to that person that you want, because you could attract whomever.
Absolutely,
you know, like,
absolutely.
Like whoever you want to attract, you're going to attract.
You're going to attract.
But if you want to attract a girl with good values, a good with morals, like literally I would say a spouse with long-term actual goals, then you're going to need to become that
your
tier.
Best self.
Exactly.
The best self. Yeah. But Ramses, you had a story, no? Story time? I gotta go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna put it on you. Okay?
All right, for sure.
Tell Ariana if she wants to sit in for a bit.
Oh, is she still here?
Put it on the wide, bro.
On the wide?
The wide one.
I was just trying.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
No, just go through, bro.
Just go through, bro.
Just go through. Omar's going to the bathroom, and then I'll probably go next because I need to go bathroom too.
I think we're all gonna go.
Whatever. Now I'm thinking about it.
Anyways, but another story. I relate to yours heavy, and Omar's as well too. It's made me think of this one situation I had.
No, go through. No, go through. Ariana's in the house.
Ariana on the switches. Beep, beep, beep.
Oh.
Yeah, but I was dating a chick, right?
Uh-huh.
Their parents.
Hold on, before you get into it, Ariana, push number 4. There you go, everybody.
Hey,
Ariana's in the house. Omar had to go pee.
Camera?
Omar had to go number 2, so unfortunately we were going to wait for a minute. Thank you, Ariana, for making the little switch. She just came from IKEA because we are actually redecorating the room next door to us, and hopefully we'll get it done after we're done with this podcast.
Real cool.
Yeah, real cool. So
decorating.
Yeah. So story time with Ramzeigh.
I'll make it quick. You know.
No, go for it. Take your time.
Well, I was saying I was dating a chick, I was under the impression too after a while that I think her parents hated me, right? Because of my situation too. Like I come from an immigrant family, you know, and all that. I'm an immigrant myself too. So by default, right there, they started looking down on me, right, because of the circumstances and that. But I remember it was no hate on my ex-girlfriend. There's no hate on her. It was her parents, bro. That was crazy. So they made us break up eventually, right? I'm just gonna skip everything. They made us break up, right?
Okay.
So we break up. I think about a year after we break up, something happens.
Tell us.
I get a random call.
Yeah, what happened?
I get a random phone call, and I believe it's her, my ex, and her mom in the car outside in front of my house.
Dun dun dun.
And they're like, "Are you home?" I'm like, "Yeah." We haven't talked in a while.
Yeah,
like, why are you calling me?
Yeah.
You know. And then it's her mom. She passes the phone to her mom. Oh, by the way, she calls and she's like crying or something like that. And then she passes the phone to her mom and she's like, "Hey, can you come outside? Like, can we go talk somewhere?" It's random, super random. Keep in mind, I haven't talked to them because they made us break up. It was like a year prior. So I was like, so random. I was like, what the heck is going on? Did somebody die or something? You know, like that. So like my dumb ass goes outside and gets in the car. And then we drive to a McDonald's. Right? We end up talking there.
Delicious.
Did they kidnap you?
But I know, dude, it was so sketchy.
We have sound effects, sorry, if you want to use them.
Omar's back.
Hold on. Omar, no, could you sit on the couch?
Sit on the couch.
No, sit on the couch after he's done with the story. Sit on mine because I need to go bathroom too.
But so we're in McDonald's, right? And we're talking. And I noticed something about my ex.
What?
She's pregnant. Yeah.
Ariana, the sound effect. Whichever one, just push one. There you go. That was a good one.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
There you go.
But yeah, I noticed she's pregnant and she's out crying and everything. And then I'm gonna keep it short. Her mom flat out tells me, "Do you still have feelings for her?"
Hell no.
And I was like, "If you do, you know, like I think you guys should be getting back together." And this is what I said. I was like, the audacity for you to tell me this. The nerve.
The revenge.
Yeah. I took heavy revenge, bro.
I have the same
that
story.
was the opportunity for me to take revenge, and I took it.
Story.
And I took it.
You have the same story?
Similar story of revenge.
Yeah.
The revenge.
What the heck?
Yeah, bro.
The things that guys go through.
The things we have to go through sometimes, you know.
Keep going.
So I told her, "Aren't you the one that made us break up in the first place?" I told her. It was you. You know. And why did you make us break up? Because of my circumstance. I told her. Like, you guys didn't never like me to begin with. You know. You thought she wasn't gonna have no future because of my circumstance and all this. And now because she's at her probably the bottom of her, you know, her whole life, you guys have the nerve to come from looking for me to pick up your baggage because of her decisions. Like the nerve.
Wait, so she was like showing pregnant?
Yeah, she was showing. It was like months.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, so this was months after.
No, this is a year after they broke up.
This is
No, it was a year after.
Yeah.
How did
And then
that
I
end
get a random call, and you know, that's when, you know, I made up with them.
up? So they knew that you weren't the father, and they were.
Yeah.
Just
obviously not.
They knew.
Obviously
They
not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They were just trying to have him.
They were trying to get you looped
To
in?
pick up the baggage and
Yeah.
take over.
Yeah, exactly.
They were trying to make me do that.
Wow.
Yeah, and but I was just mean towards the mom though.
Good.
Oh, absolutely.
Only to her.
You tell us.
Yeah. And then to my ex, I was like, look,
The dad doesn't care usually.
the dad wasn't even there, bro.
Probably didn't even know.
Yeah. And then I let the moms have it, bro. You know, I told her. But then I went to my ex, I'm like, hey, but you didn't do nothing to me. You know, because at the end of the day, they made us break up. You didn't do anything to me.
How old were you?
I was probably like early 20s.
Oh.
Yeah, probably like 21,
Yeah,
22
same.
ish.
Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too. You guys
Yeah,
are
and then
same age.
I remember I told her, I was like, I could be your friend though.
Yeah.
You know, if you need an ear, like something to talk to, I'll listen.
That's sweet.
But yeah, because
it was too nice.
Because like
Irvin's over there
some guy-
struggling. I can tell he's to pee.
No. Keep on. I want to listen to this.
But I wasn't gonna be an asshole to her because she didn't do anything to me, right?
Uh-huh.
I was only an asshole to her mom because she did something to me, right? Right.
Yeah. No, it happens though. Like it's unfortunate that there are people that are going to be that judgmental. And I get it. Like I said, at some point, my future daughter, if I do have a daughter, there's going to be a time where she's going to date, and hopefully, if like she graduates high school without getting pregnant, there's going to be that talk. Like she's going to bring a guy that will potentially have, like his stuff together, and like I will have to see it circumstantial. Like if you're a guy in your early 20s, you're not going to have stuff to provide for a young girl. And it's unfortunate because we're being told that to date our age, but it doesn't work that way because we are seeing, even at that age already, you need to get your shit together, or if not, we're going to judge you, and it's unfortunate because we date younger and then we're seeing, oh no, she's too young and she's too vulnerable, or she's way too this or that, and you're taking advantage. I'm like, okay, I can't date at my age when I was in my early 20s because you didn't want me to date her because I didn't have nothing to provide. But now that I have something to provide, you're asking me to date my age when I know I may want to have kids or I may want to have family. It doesn't work either way. So you have to make up your own mind as far as like what you're going to do with your life as a guy. Yeah. And like I said, we live two different experiences, and those experiences that you lived, I lived, Omar lived, either make you into a weak man, which then you become the victim of your own, I guess, experience, or you become the hero in your story as far as like, I remember that and I'm never going to live that experience again. And just like you had your little revenge moment.
But I had revenge.
Like he had his Taylor Swift moment.
Yeah, your experience of like, okay, I remember that conversation vividly, and I remember I have exactly similar experience of that experience as far as like a talk with the mom. Exactly. Not, she didn't get pregnant. that didn't lead up to that point. Just fast forward, we had broken up 2 months. After those 2 months, remember how I said they didn't want us to date? We dated technically behind their backs for like 2 to 3 years. Once we broke up, it was literally because the mom was so embedded in her head that, oh, I saw Irvin talking to a girl in the parking lot of ABC, and so she would always put in like little stories in the girls.
Wait, which girl was this?
Oh, this was when I was like,
whoa.
I was like 22 or 21.
Who is that?
I don't want to say her name. I don't want to say her name.
We ain't name dropping here.
We're not.
We ain't name dropping.
Sorry.
Yeah, they still live out here. That's fine. And I do have their family members that do message me. The guys though, not the brothers though, the cousins, the cousins and the uncles, exactly. So they always compliment everything that I do, which I like. And like I said, they had nothing to do with the negative my experience, I guess, within that family. But like I said, that mom literally just had always something negative to say, either in front of me or in front of people, which made it worse. And I remember when we broke up, it happened. I kind of already saw it coming. It was what it was, things happen. Luckily, I didn't fall in love with the girl because that would have sucked. I just had feelings for her, but it wasn't that type of affection towards her because it was just too much. Once we broke up, literally 2 months later, she was already with someone else, and we were going to the same church, and the mom comes up to me all willy-nilly and super nice. And basically told me
sorry. I'm just
tell me about that, bro.
And I was with my friends. Like I said, I was young. I was in my early 20s, 21, 22. So I was with my friends, group of friends. I was talking to them. So it was in front of people. She came up to me. So I was already talking to a group of my friends, and she came up to me and basically said, are you available this Saturday? So it was Sunday. She was talking about the following Saturday, this Saturday coming up. And I'm like, yeah, I'm available. And because at the time I was doing sound at the church and I was also playing guitar, there was always events coming up. So I was always up for doing whatever they needed at the time. And she had mentioned her daughter's name in the way where I never heard her say her name. So I got confused to begin with. She said, hey, this person's getting married. Are you okay to doing, or no, she didn't even say, are you okay? Could you do the soundboard? And then I got confused because of the way that she said the name, her daughter's name.
Mm-hmm.
And basically she's like, yeah, basically it was very sweet the way that she was talking to me.
It's like the nickname in your family.
And then, yeah, exactly. And I had to repeat it out loud to her. I'm like, I said the name. I'm like, are you who? And then I said the
Mike
name.
Jones. Who?
Yeah.
Mike Jones.
And I said the name. She's like, oh, yeah, she's getting married this Saturday. Are you willing to do the soundboard? And just like you, in my head, I'm like, the audacity of this lady.
The audacity, bro.
To basically do all these things and say all these things while I was dating her daughter. And then basically the whole idea was, I don't want you to date my daughter because you want to get married right away. And 2 months after we broke up, what happens? She's dating someone else. Now she's automatically engaged within that 2 month period that we had broken up. And now she's going to get married. And now you're asking me to do the soundboard 2 months after.
But did you do it?
Hell no, bro.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about.
So just like you, I let her had it. But the thing is, I don't remember what I said. I kind of blacked out.
I kind of blacked out, but I do remember the highlights.
Dang,
I do remember the highlights.
No, so I blacked out because my friends around me, they basically started almost like, I remember, I don't want to say her name. She was next to me. She basically grabbed me by my arm and was like pushing me away. I just remember the lady crying.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wait, well, hold on.
Whoa.
Did you yell at her? Or
I
what
basically
happened?
had said everything that I was holding in with whatever I was holding in.
But you just don't remember it because
I don't remember.
You were so angry.
Yeah, exactly. I basically blacked out as far as like, I don't remember the conversation.
What was that thing you said that love can't provide?
Yeah. So basically I do remember that I basically had mentioned that I had something within the realm of like, how is she going to get married when knowing that love is going to provide her everything? And because we were so young at the time, she had just graduated high school. So she was 19 and I was 23 or 20. No, I met her when she was 17 and I was 21, something like that. And then we broke up 3 years after. So at least she was 19 or 20 at the time when we broke up. So she was 20 and I'm pretty sure, I don't know how old the guy was. I literally never paid attention to him. Like I said, 2 months. It was quick. I was like,
she was already getting married?
I was like, bro.
2 months after?
Yeah.
But by the way, I have more to this revenge of my story. There's more, bro.
Yeah, we want to hear the revenge. We want to hear revenge.
There's more to the revenge.
Yeah, but
go
like
ahead.
I said, it became more of the aspect that I do remember those experiences as far as like where my life led up to were from those experiences, you know, like even from before that relationship, I had another relationship was not as dramatic with the parents, but it would always lead into the conversation. I'm like, oh, he comes from, Mexico. He doesn't have a license. He can't work. Even though I was full-time student, even though I was trying my best to do what I can when it comes to the finances, when it came to prom, I always found a way to make money to then give her the...
See, right there. We, even though in our circumstance, we always found a way.
Yeah.
Si se puede.
Yeah, exactly.
Ponte los pilas.
But of course, because it's so normalized just to do those small things and in their experience of living, for them, it didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It didn't mean nothing that I paid for prom, for the ticket, for my ticket. And those things were expensive back then. And whatever the croissant thing, whatever, I literally paid for everything. And I couldn't even work. How did I do it? I found a way. Like I literally found a way in high school. So those things, they didn't even understand how hard it was just to do small things like that. But it didn't matter because my experience with their experience is completely different. Like I said, the first relationship led into the same conversation. Second relationship led into the same conversation. Third relationship led to the same conversation. My last relationship, similar circumstance. Unfortunately, I was a little bit older to understand where it was leading to. So I actually had to break it off before it led into basically a loop of just arguing, because right now, I'm making money. And now I'm kind of ready as far as like if a girl comes through and it's an actual long-term relationship, it will be a little bit different experience because now it's where I have my foundation already set.
Yeah.
But I had to understand from that experience and from those experiences, that's what you need to do first in order for you to have a successful relationship as a guy, unfortunately. And there are arguments where like people will say, no, that's not how it works. So I'm like, oh no, women are going to provide for you too, or 50-50 or all that stuff. But there has to be 50-50. Back then I had 50-50. I didn't even have 20, 20-70,
Yeah.
Your math is wrong.
Yeah, exactly. My math is even off.
Sorry, I love math.
But that's what I mean. Like you have to become that person in order for you to actually then get into the position that you want to get into when it comes to, relationships.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Like I said, we live different experiences from other people. Not just the experience as far as being immigrants, but, being men and then being immigrants. And then, of course, understanding how women navigate to consciously or self-consciously. You have to understand that too, because there's going to be arguments with different people, different views and all that stuff. People want to go Dutch now, which is fine, if you want to go Dutch with me, bro, the mortgage, bro, it's expensive.
Go Dutch? What is that?
A Dutch is going 50-50.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's basically paying half and half.
Yeah.
But even that half and half, there's always there's the lead into if there's going to be a family, you're going to need to provide a little bit more because she cannot work in that time span. Or if she does, it's not going to be the equivalent if she didn't have if she wasn't pregnant. So you're going to need to pick up, a little bit more. And you need to understand there's going to need to be savings even beforehand in order for you even to think about having kids.
Yeah.
So it's no longer Dutch, regardless of how you want to look at it or how your experience is. It's always going to be lit up to you need to understand the safety net has to be there beforehand. So you have to put your priorities first and you have to sacrifice first. And if they are making good money, they didn't have to sacrifice or even think about that safety net because they're already thinking, hey, I saw him. He's a safety net. So, and like I said, there are going to be arguments as far as like the whole idea of like, no, it's not really like that anymore. And, we now live in a comfortable society and it's always been like that back in the day, 100%. But it always leads into the psychology of like, why, like I'm not going to have my girl go through these experiences when I know I am healthy. I am, like able-bodied. Yeah. If I need to get 2-3 jobs so that she could live a comfortable life, if that's what she wants, or if that's what you want too. Now, if she wants to go Dutch, bro, like I said, you're more than welcome, bro. You're more than. But
the door's open.
Yeah, but that's an option though.
It's optional.
It's just an option. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Omar, if you could please replace me for a second, because I really need to go to the bathroom. Story time with Omar.
Come on, you tell me because I missed most of it, but I got at the end of it.
Oh yeah.
I think I understood what you were going with. Where it was like, okay, there was this girl in your life, you loved her. The parents were like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
And then she got pregnant, and they're like, you know what? Never mind. We changed our mind.
Pretty much.
We want you to come back because.
Good sum up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to
pretty
sum
much
up the story real
up.
quick. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So that happened. Now, probably like a couple of years go by after that incident,
Yeah. After the whole, we want you to come back, and you're like, the audacity.
Yeah. After that, a couple of years rolled by, right? And one day my mom, she tells me, guess who I saw at Vallarta? I was like, who? Like, your ex's mom.
Man.
And she came up to me and said, hey, I just want to apologize to you and just say like, I was wrong about Ramon. My name is Ramon. Yeah.
In case you guys didn't know.
In case you guys didn't know. It was like, I was wrong about your son.
Wow.
Like that. I was like,
that's amazing.
That tells me it's still,
she still thinks about
she's still thinking about it and it's bothering her.
Hey,
for what she did. You know what I mean?
Good.
After it was like 2 years after, right?
Yeah.
Like that. And I was like, yes, I'm sorry. I probably sound mean, but I was like, oh, like it's still there in her head and it's bothering her. You know what I mean? That was my mindset.
Totally, but I mean that messed with you too, man. Did it mess with your self-esteem for a while or what?
It did. When they were like, when I would go to their house, and I say this to guys, like stuff that we go through. And I'm sure Irvin can relate to this because we're very similar. we were talked down. I was talked down a lot.
Yeah.
A lot because of my circumstance, you know? But I will find jobs here and there. About what my mom said in that time, and she told me, do you know what else she told me? Like, other than apologizing, she said, I didn't know Ramzeigh was working.
What?
Like
What?
that was her words.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't need your validation. I don't need your confirmation or anything. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, you didn't know I was working.
Yeah.
Like when I was with that chick, I had like dead end jobs here and there. Like, you know, I had a job here, I had a job over there. But I was trying.
That's the important part.
Yeah, and I guess they never saw that. You know, her parents, they never saw that. Like, I was trying. You know.
Well, see, that's the thing about trying, or like, at least for people who want or expect something a certain way.
Yeah.
If you don't have results, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah.
And a lot of times people don't have, I want to say, the compassion to say, look, I see you're struggling, but your attitude and the fact that you're doing something about
the
it.
convention, they didn't see the convention.
No. And because of that, but that's the entire world. The entire world doesn't care. Not just, again, parents with daughters they're trying to protect. It's, you know, if you go to an office with a resume saying, look, I'm trying to go to college, like, I'm doing this thing. Can you give me a job at this office where I need a degree? And they'd be like, what do you know, dude? Bring the degree, and then I care about what you're doing or what you're saying or what I can, you know, what you can provide to me. And that's just a simple fact of life. No one cares what you say. Everyone cares what you do.
True.
And if you don't have results, then I don't care about you.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And his revenge, part 3. There's part 3.
Part three.
Same person.
Dang.
Same
This
person.
guy.
It's a trilogy.
It's gonna be a part 4 soon.
It takes
She's gonna come back for part 4.
After this airs.
yeah. It's a trilogy right here.
The kids come back.
The revenge turns to a dark path now.
Oh.
It gets dark.
What?
It gets dark.
There's a spooky sound. Press the spooky. Where's the spooky?
There you go. Yeah, things get a little dark. Well, things that I found out, bro, about this quote unquote moms. Turns out I dodged a big ass bullet. Big, bro. Big. Come to find out that this lady was doing witchcraft, bro.
What the hell?
Brujeria.
Yeah, she was a little bruja, bro.
Hey.
Yeah, dude. Like,
Oh, I should have done this.
Brujeria.
yeah, dude. And I found out from like one of her like extended family from her side, like the mom side or whatever. Like, I was cool with the dude, but like he's not close to that family at all because of all that. Yeah. He's the one that told me. He's like, did you ever knew this? Like, you were with that chick for a while. Like, you never got any like clues or hints or red flags here and there from the moms? Like, bro, she did witchcraft, bro.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, dude. I was like, thank you. Like, that gives me even more like weight off me. Like, damn, I freaking dodged the bullet, bro. Yeah, hell
Dang,
yeah.
So do you think she was doing stuff on you?
I don't think so. I turned out all right.
Yeah, I think so. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, what could have what's the worst thing that she can do? I don't know, make you shorter or stunt your, I don't know.
I don't
What?
think,
Early balding.
I don't think, yeah.
Early balding, that's right. Damn.
Let's see. Take off that hat.
Take off.
Oh, no, I still have hair.
Okay, good.
Ain't nothing wrong with me, bro.
No, that's good. So then that means it didn't work.
It didn't work.
Okay.
That's another revenge right there.
There
It
you
didn't
go.
work, you little. Nah. But yeah, dude. Crazy, bro. Though. That's a crazy one for me, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never dealt with
A
bruja. No, I've never dealt with the bruja before, but I know they exist. You know,
They're out there, bro, and they look like normal people. There could be one right
Just
here.
like me.
Yeah,
There could be one right.
no,
or a brujo.
genuinely, and it's funny because it's always like again, was she Catholic?
Christian, supposedly.
Christian.
Supposedly.
Oh, because I was gonna say it's usually Catholics.
Yeah, usually.
Interesting.
That's the hypocrite side of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man.
Yep.
Hypocrisy.
Yep.
Hey, dude, that's a good story.
There's deep stuff, but we'll be here for 5 hours.
I don't know. Does Irvin want another 4-hour podcast?
We'll probably end in a little bit.
Oh, you want your seat back? Bro, I see why you like doing this.
Right?
It's sitting here.
Hey Omar, could you grab that box downstairs or on the
Downstairs.
the crate? Yeah. So go to his side, grab the crate, grab an XLR, and literally grab the microphone from the other room, and then just sit on the seat.
Oh, cool.
There.
Hey.
Tongue. This is the crate. Come on, Omar.
Oh, we're making this a 4-person podcast.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why not? There you go. Grab an
Off the
XLR.
rip.
Grab an XLR. The stand's already there, and then just plug it into the mixer.
Off the rip,
There you
bro.
Ariana, as far as like what we're kind of talking, because I don't think that you've ever been on my podcast, and I should probably put the headphones
No.
on.
Yeah, put on the headphones.
Dang, Omar, you have a big old head.
It's all stretched out, huh?
Hearing a guy's experience as far as like, I'm pretty sure we've never really kind of, sorry. Plug in.
This is an authentic episode, stuff going on, I love these kind of episodes.
Yeah, right. It's a random podcast to begin with. The backstory as far as like why Ramzeigh is here, because I know we were supposed to have Sarah, and I know I didn't want to have. I thank Omar for making more noises over there.
It's all good. Authentic.
Yeah, it's a random thing as far as like I had spoken to Omar. I said, hey, she doesn't come through, I'm gonna call Ramzeigh right away. I already know that you live fairly close and you're always down to do things. So it's easier for me to kind of just like already have you in my mind because of that. You know what to do, Omar. You know what to do.
You know what to do, Ola. But yeah.
So going back to what I was saying, Ari, because I don't think I've ever had. Oh, the last time that I had a girl. Well, I haven't had a girl and then speaking relationships with on my podcast. As far as like, I don't really think we talk about our relationships on my podcast. How do we actually start these conversations? It's you. It's you. You with your emotions, bro.
Oh yeah, Mr. Emotion.
There's nothing wrong with emotions.
Yeah.
Look, she agrees.
Yeah.
That's why we have to have women on this.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with emotion,
Yeah.
but too much, yeah.
Yeah. Too much emotions. Has to be balanced. That's
Yeah.
But yeah, so on my pod, it's always been fairly random as far as like when it comes down to the conversations have been random right now, or even the people that have come through have only been off of the idea that I like having conversations with them, but it's never been strategic as far as like the topics that are coming into my mind.
Yeah.
It's never written down. I know that's something that certain people do on their podcast, which is fine. I like that format too. Omar, if you want to get closer where the pillow's at, there you go. And then
Look at that. I'm in the camera now.
and then Ari, could you go to number whatever microphone he's on? Just
Check us out.
It's number 4.
Number
It's probably gonna be number 4.
yeah, number 4. Pick him up.
Yo,
The
how do I
fader?
sound?
Keep.
I sound just fine? Yes, I do.
No, I don't hear
There's
you.
No volume.
No, it's remember the fountain power?
Yes.
Do you remember how to get to it?
Yes, kind of.
Kind of. Just push number 4, the number.
Number 4, the number.
On the fly.
Microphone, condenser, dynamic. There you go. That's what it was.
There you go.
Home. Let's see.
And then click on it.
How do I
There
sound?
we
we
go.
go.
I know,
We got you
there
I
you
do
go.
remember how to do it.
He's learning.
He's a new tech guy.
He's learning. There
he
you
knows
go.
more than I do.
I have an unfair advantage. I'm a musician. You
Yeah.
know, this is
Oh.
our background.
I guess.
there you go.
Yeah.
So going back to the
Yes.
question that I've been trying to ask for like at least the last 5 minutes. Ariana, as far as like hearing the stories that me and Ramzeigh have, and I don't know if Omar had just said a story of his own. What are your thoughts as far as like a guy's experience as far as like his early 20s getting into a relationship? Just thoughts. It's
Why are
not
you asking me this?
because
Have you ever dated anyone in your early 20s?
I guess the only reason I asked.
Because you want a girl's perspective.
Yeah, I want
what I think of guys getting in a relationship when they're in their 20s.
Yeah, I would say like, what are your thoughts as far as like hearing the experiences that me and Ramses have gone through, or any experiences that if Omar had said anything when I was in the bathroom? What are your thoughts as far as like if you were, let's say hypothetically you have a son, what would you tell him as far as like now he's in his he's 18, 19, dating 18, 19-year-old girl? What is your advice now hearing these experiences or these stories that me and Ramses have had said, or if not Omar had said it, he had said anything, what would you give him his advice as far as like?
You're asking the wrong person this. But I would say, I mean, here, let me point this to me.
There you go.
Omar in the back.
I think it's necessary. I think it's a part of growing up, like to better understand yourself and understand what you want. Because when you're in your 20s, you're a totally different person than you are when you're in your 30s. And there are definitely people who I feel are very mature and are already like very whole and complete people in their 20s, and they can find someone and they can like build a really great relationship with those people. But there are a lot of people who aren't like that. Like it takes a while for you to understand like who you are, understand what you want, understand the world around you. And I think being in a relationship when you're younger is a part of growing up and a part of becoming who you are. So like those experiences, I think those led you guys to like know what you don't want to deal with, know what you would want to have in someone, and not just the person, but their family as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
what would your advice be to that hypothetical son?
Dating advice?
Yeah,
I'm like the worst person to ask this.
I know, but let's say you have that son, like you see that little girl that's literally following him. They're in love, or, infatuated in love because they're so young. And then you understand that he's having a hard time because him as a guy, like he's dealing with her family, looking at him.
Or you're saying like the same situation that you guys
yeah, like
hypothetical.
Yeah, like what is your advice?
Mira, mijo.
Get out of there, dude. Like,
there you go.
That's not for you.
Yeah, but that's gonna be every single relationship until he hits his. I would say until
I
actually
wouldn't say that's gonna be every single relationship
until he actually starts. I guess putting his foundation together.
I think also you as a person have to respect yourself and take yourself out of that situation too.
But that's what I mean. Like, what is your advice to that hypothetical son? Like what are you telling him besides telling him to get out of that situation? Because he's gonna hear you as far as like. Yeah, get out of the situation, but he hasn't experienced that situation enough for him to actually, it wouldn't motivate a boy to hear his mom say, okay, just get out of the situation. It has to be met with something else.
Like explain why?
Yeah, like what exactly are you giving him as far as an advantage? You feel
as an advantage.
Okay, so like how you being a woman, you understand. I'm half woman too. Don't worry. It's true. You understand something like as far as like the inside the woman brain. I know you said I'm a bad person to talk to about dating, but like when it comes to what you want and what you need, that you want your emotions to be met. You want somebody compassionate and empathetic.
I mean, I guess. I feel like I'm not the right girl to ask this because I feel like I'm not very emotional to begin with. So.
She's a tough one.
Yeah, but I'm not
She's
even
a tough one.
Yeah,
tough as nails.
I guess for me, yes. I'm extremely logical. So there are situations where
which would even be better to give a guy
advice
with logic,
exactly.
rather than emotion.
Well, I mean, to me, it would just be obvious. Like, it's like logically, it doesn't make sense for you to be in the situation. So remove yourself from it. Like, that's the way I would perceive it. That's the way I would see it. And that's what I would say.
Would you like tell them to like, they obviously don't see your other qualities, like get out of there because they don't.
Would I say that?
Yeah, like that could be useful too. Giving them the advantage that you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't see your advantage, mijo.
Yeah.
They obviously don't see it. They're blinded, Yeah. They only see you as this one thing and one thing alone, They don't see the whole package.
Yeah.
Yeah. How would you make your son feel better about that situation? And he was like, Mom, you know what?
Yeah.
I just went to my girlfriend's house and they told me I'm too broke to marry their daughter. Like,
basically.
What would you say to him?
I'd probably say, well, you are broke, dude. Like, you shouldn't be thinking about getting married
there
right
you
now.
go.
Like, what? Like,
Okay.
There you go.
but then that's me being logical. Like,
No, but that
that's
is
the
logic.
logical.
It is
aspect of
logical.
it.
It is.
Like,
It's a
I wouldn't
logical
be-
response.
I don't think
It's a
I'd be
logical
emotional
response
about
for a
it.
logical situation.
And be like, mijo, so what is that teaching you, mijo? Like, what are you gonna do different next
I
time?
wouldn't even say mijo.
Okay.
I would say
Yeah, I'm saying
Hey,
mijo.
cabrón.
I would say
Cabron,
son.
Son.
Child.
child.
My child.
No, I don't know. It's a weird situation for me to even think about because I don't even want that. So it's like for me to, that's not ever things that I ever think about.
Yeah.
That scenario of like children. But I guess if I think about it, you know, my brothers or
There you go.
Or your nephew, if
nephew. I don't have any.
or niece.
I have a niece. She's
Yeah.
Would you
Like
tell your
it-
brother? Would you
she's
be like,
like
go
2
get
months
that
old.
bag? Go get
No.
that bag, brother. If you want a wife.
I'd be like, dude, you're in your 20s. Wait until you're 30 to get married.
There
If you want to
go.
get married.
Yeah, but the situation
Yeah,
isn't that
somewhat.
if he wants to get married, it's just more of the judgment that's coming in from the family. You know, like his mindset isn't being married because at that age you're both.
Well, that's what you guys are saying.
No. The situation became where the parents were thinking that we were wanting to get married, and the idea that either it's because we're a Hispanic culture, we're looked at as a providers, and it's always put in, even in the sense of that being that young.
So basically, what you're saying is the parents didn't feel like you guys were good enough for their daughter,
Correct.
and
Pretty much.
Financially.
what to from
So
my financial aspect, but
Yeah, yeah.
personality wise, they loved you.
I'm pretty sure
Me-
they wanted to like us.
They didn't like
Yeah.
me at all.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they wanted to, but the aspect of just the situation came always down to I'm going to judge him based only on his wallet or based on what he could potentially get for or provide for my daughter.
Yeah, I mean, I think parents are like that anyway when it comes to their daughters overall, especially when their daughters are first getting into, you know, being an adult,
Mhm.
because they don't want their daughter to end up in a bad situation
Yeah.
or a unstable situation.
Mhm.
Whether or not that ended up happening
Yeah.
with whoever you guys, you know, those situations were with you guys. But yeah, I think when it comes to like that as a guy, I feel like relationships shouldn't be that hard. You know, like it should be like if you're having that much difficulty in your relationship, then, you know, it's like, how much worse is it going to get? Or like, this is just the beginning of your relationship. Like, shouldn't the beginning be where it's like the easiest and then it starts to get more complicated as you know them? Like, it shouldn't be that complicated, I feel.
Yeah, I think what you're doing is you're kind of putting your eyes into the relationship, not the parent. We're talking about the advice as a parent, not the actual person in the relationship. And I understand
I'm not
that
a parent.
No,
I feel like I can't give advice as a parent because I'm not a parent. I haven't been
we're
in that
neither
situation.
of us
No,
are
I
parents.
know, but
you
if
know.
I had to
You know.
pretend like if I had a son,
Yeah.
or like, or you know what, even better yet, if you can't like put yourself in the parent role, you can say, what would I tell maybe a younger version of me? And
Yeah.
at least for me, you know, I can relate to the idea of, man, I've been in a relationship where the parents did not approve of me because of my financial situation. So if I ever had to speak to myself again and say, hey, man, you know what? Instead of focusing on girls, how about you focus on getting your money together? You know, and that's something I would logically say to myself because that's
Yeah.
how I would have
And then-
solved that problem.
And then
at the time.
end it off with pendejo.
Pendejo. But that's what I'm saying. If you have a hard time, at least
I feel like,
imagining.
I've never encountered that situation or like know anyone like in terms, even my brothers who have been in that situation. But my brothers also, you know, they don't
Poor.
really, no,
Poor
no, that's not what
immigrants.
No,
They
they're
weren't
just like,
immigrants?
I feel like at least my family were not the type of like we don't go around just like, oh, dating to date. Like it takes a lot for us to even like want to be in a relationship with someone. So I think I haven't really seen any of my siblings in that situation or even my brothers. So
And you've never been in that situation.
I
Clearly.
have.
Yeah, no, of course she's not going to be in that situation. She's a girl.
I was gonna say,
she's
who's
a
gonna
girl.
disapprove of you being broke?
Yeah, she's a girl. So here, kind of going after as far as like what
I
she's
see it.
kind of wanting
Yeah.
to say as far as like her siblings. So I have spoken to David, your brother, when it comes to relationships, and I don't really talk to him that often. But when I do get to talk to him, it's very enjoyable because I have a long long relationship as far as like being friends, just as
Oh,
like
David, that's right.
like
yeah.
Omar we've been friends for a long time. So when it comes to like actually having conversations, it's easier for me or him to actually have a conversation where it's honest. And the last time I saw him, we were actually talking about relationships, and we're talking about biology, and we're talking about finances, and maybe she doesn't know how to actually give an actual answer when it comes to a situation, even if it's hypothetical, because once again, it's not an experience that she will ever have to live. But I would have wanted to have almost like some sort of advice to the young boy, because we have our own.
I feel like you guys should be the ones giving the advice.
I was about to say that.
No,
I
but that's
could
what I'm
probably
because I think that would be a little
rewind and look at myself like, hey, you know, tell them something.
But that's what I mean. Like it's just more of just like how does a woman or how does a girl, because Ari was listening, I wanted to see her insight as far as just even listening to that experience, even if she's never lived it. Let's say if I was her son, how would she have given me advice in that situation? Because I know her sense is like being logical. I'm very logical too. If I was a dad, I'm like, okay, just leave her ass, you know, go find another girl. Yeah. She's not worth it. Very logical, but in that sense of like when you're that young and your I guess your feelings are involved and you're attached to the girl, it's a harder thing to actually notice the logic because you're invested emotionally. So it's harder for you to actually even hear the logic. So I wanted to almost hear like a female's perspective, almost like how do you cater to that young man and giving that advice,
or maybe use emotion and persuade him and to have leverage. Like, hey, either the love that you had for her, you know, was eventually probably going to change as you get older, because you're not going to be the same guy 10 years from now. You know, you're going to be a totally different person. Who knows, y'all still going to be together. Yeah. Probably not. You know, that's like emotional right there, you know?
Yeah, going into once again, the logic and the emotion. But I just wanted to kind of hear Ari's like almost like a perspective of another person in the room. Which is fine. Like if she doesn't understand like where it's coming from. And
I feel like I didn't give the answer you were looking for.
No, well, I think it
was an answer.
It was an answer, but I think it's because it's never an experience that you'll ever have to live. And I understood where your family is as far as like they aren't judgmental like that.
She was keeping it real.
Yeah, I understand that
so
your family.
Date a broke boy is what
yeah,
you're saying.
I understand that you're
probably dating
but
broke,
here's again, she's coming in from the female side. You know, like that the aspect that she doesn't have to experience it as a boy. Now her brother, he has experienced.
He's experienced,
you know,
that?
but it's more of like unknown experience because it's already an experience that it's already within us already. Like you already have to understand, like you're going to go get your career first. You have to like focus on this, and then you're going to then focus on the I guess what comes with it. Like, you know, like getting the girlfriend and then maybe becoming the wife or whatever, getting married. And all
it's
that
like
stuff.
Scarface said, bro. First you get the money. And then you get the power.
Scarface.
Then after the
why are you bringing my TV, bro?
He hit his head on TV.
He got the concussion.
Oh god, that was funny. Sorry, I love that.
But like after the power, then you get the girl.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man, you know what? My mama, she a long time ago, and this is what kind of deterred me from dating and even just messing around. She was always like, she's like, if you're gonna get a girl pregnant, you're gonna take care of her. You're gonna take care of the baby. And I'm just like, okay, I won't mess with girls then.
I'm a woman now.
He still hasn't messed with girls to this day.
Yeah, no, and literally to this day, actually, I was telling these guys, I've been in the desert for like 8 years. I haven't been in a relationship.
He's a monk.
Oh, it's like the desert. Oh, like
he's been dry.
He's been dry.
Dry spell.
Dry spell.
Well, rainy seasons are upon us, so.
Oh, it's April. That's right.
April showers bring May flowers.
Hey, there you go. Poetic. See, I do that too. I rhyme. But no, that's where in my head I was like, oh yeah, I don't have money to be messing with you. Like if I get you pregnant, dude, who's gonna take care of you?
Yeah,
I can't.
But I feel like a lot of guys don't think that way. Like guys kind of, especially when they're younger, they're just kind of, I guess, being more
horny.
Yes.
Emotional. We call it emotional.
Emotional horny.
Yeah.
They're just in their feelings.
There you go. In your feelings. Absolutely. And because of that, they're just like, this feels good. this feels good. And my
Yeah, it
mom
feels
was always
amazing.
like, no. Hey, cabrón. It don't matter if it feels
Yeah.
good. You gotta think about
Mira,
it.
cabrón, dude.
Hey, cabrón. Now, that was my dad. Now she talks a little bit more aggressive like that.
Who?
But my mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ahora she's like, pendejo. I was like, whoa, dude, what are you doing?
Where did this come
Where
from?
did this come from, Mom? Don't talk to me like that, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when it comes to guys' experiences, unfortunately, we sometimes have to learn the hard way, and those hard experiences sometimes become the
It goes a
experience-
long way.
Yeah, the experiences that will literally build you into that
Yeah.
better person. Of course, there are a little softer men now, and like Hari's now mentioning, like Hari's now mentioning at that age, guys aren't thinking long term. Like when it comes to the relationships, as far as like how am I gonna financially support, how am I, the consequences if I do get her pregnant, all that kind of thing. We're just kind of literally thinking with our pants and literally just thinking with the idea that she is something, that she's not, because we're visual creatures as well. And at that age, girls are gorgeous. Like I remember at that age when I was in high school or early 20s, my eyes were just like, bro, like, oh my goodness, Picasso over here, that kind of thing.
I was gonna say, why do you think artists, their first muses were women?
Yeah.
If you look at it, artists, they're true women, and they're usually
Right.
naked.
Right.
So,
The sculptures.
Women, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, but women are beautiful.
Exactly.
Women are
regardless.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. And the average man isn't
No.
that.
No.
Not a
but
Picasso.
but when it comes down to women, it's the opposite. There are more beautiful women than there are handsome men.
Yeah.
And it's biology too, because we're visual creatures. We are gonna seek, what we want as far as visually as men, and that's kind of where we derive as far as like how we're going to start looking for whomever we're going to want to end up with. But of course, now it's a little bit different when it comes down to like the social hierarchies when it comes to relationships, because now women are becoming visual creatures as well. And unfortunately, there's a little bit of amount of guys that are good looking, and the guys that aren't good looking, now they're being left behind. Unfortunately, it is what it is. But as a guy, you could always allow yourself to become the better guy when it comes down to your character, your finances, or your morals or values. And those are the things that will make you escalate that ladder again when it comes down to how well are you going to do in the dating market. But it is what it is. Like I said, we are living in different times, and you know, we're just going to need to kind of go off of what we have and understand it rather than just react to it in a negative way. And I think that's something me and Omar had spoken about someone that was hitting me up recently, and I had told him like I could react to the idea that I'm not the only guy that she is talking to right now. Because unfortunately, when a girl's talking to you, you have to understand that she's at least talking to 2 to 3 more guys. Either DM.
These days?
Yes, these days, exactly. Either DMs, text messages, or via person. Because, the plethora of...
One way or another.
The plethora of options that they get, or the plethora of attention that they get, even if they're not even willing or wanting that attention, it's just there. They post something, they'll get more, validation or more likes or more comments or even more DMs off of just that shoe picture that they took of their shoe, rather than if I take that same picture, I ain't get shit. That's literally how it is, because, Instagram has allowed that to like open gates for them as far as like when it comes to the potential suitors. And that's where my logic, as far as like understanding how society is now when it comes to the dating market, like I could react in a negative way. Like I said, when I was talking to Omar the other day, I understand that I am not the only person that she's talking to.
Mm-hmm.
I could react to it in a negative way, or I could just take it as is. I could now tell her, these are my priorities, and I am not going to talk to you without a purpose. And if she doesn't like it, cool. She's not going to talk to me anymore.
But shouldn't there be a grace period? Like, you can't just like hit a girl up or I guess she messaged you,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
maybe the situation's a little different. But I think in general,
The grace period, I get
there
it.
should be a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, like, if you're talking to a girl or you start talking to a girl, she probably isn't, you're probably not the only person she's talking to. That doesn't mean like she has 10 other guys she's talking to, but there's maybe other people she's going on dates with or whatever. But it's going to take a couple times before she's like, oh, okay, you know what, I really like this guy.
When she
so I'm
starts to
gonna start.
prioritize
Exactly.
you.
But that's what I mean. To understand what it is now, I could literally kind of go off of the negative, or I could do the positive, which just to understand how things work now, as far as like what she's talking about, the grace period. But I'm also going to put my limits as far as like, these are my boundaries. if you're gonna talk to me, cool, but I don't want to hear about your problems when it comes to other guys. Boundary. I don't want to hear about your problems.
In a way, I get
know,
that. Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to become that friend that
You're
most girls.
therapist.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not your therapist.
Exactly. A lot of girls like going after the idea like, hey, he's just my friend. He's going to solve my solution. He's going to be a solution as far as like the problems that I have right now. I'm not that guy. I'm sorry. I'm not your friend. If we're going to go on a date, it's a date. It's not,
it's about us.
Yeah. We're not going to hang out. That's not what we're going to call it.
Session.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to hear no other names.
Exactly. But now boundaries have to be set as far as like on your end. And I'm not going to look at it in a negative way, like the way that Ari is trying to mention as far as like the grace period, as far as like we're getting to know each other, but understand that just because we're going on a date too, doesn't mean I want to actually make you my girlfriend too, because that's the other thing that I'm noticing. If I do ask a girl out, automatically she thinks that we are going to become boyfriend and girlfriend on my end, actually.
Because you think that?
Yeah, no. They think that I want to.
Yeah, that you want it.
Yeah, and it's not that. Like, bro, I'm not asking you out. I just want to ask you out to get to know you, and that's it. I want to get to know you on a purpose, as far as like I'm not going to be put in this box of a friend because that's where they want you in. Because
the friend zone.
The friend zone, exactly. And that's the worst place that any guy could end up in.
Well, I think also there could be guys that maybe she's not initially attracted to you. So she's hesitant to like go on a date, but she wants to kind of get to know you because she doesn't already know you.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a little bit of time even there before she even like realizes if she's attracted to you.
Which is fine. And if you
I get that.
If you have the time as a guy to give her that time, 100% go for it.
I tried that.
You know that go for that sweat equity kind of thing. As far as like
equity.
The idea that, hey, I'm going to be her friend, her consultant or whatever, and I'm going to hear about her problems and
No, I wouldn't say to that extent. I would say like be on friendly terms.
Yeah.
Before, like, I think there's some times where a girl just wants to be on friendly terms with a guy before she actually goes into like dating, but not like, oh, you're my friend and I'm going to go and talk to you about this guy and that guy and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I think it just depends.
Yeah. Well, if you want to get into that friendly term, as far as like going into those hanging out, well, however you want to do it, as far as like DMing or texting or calling, that is still time. And if you want to do it because you have the time, go for it. I don't got the time.
Yeah, Irvin doesn't have the time.
I don't got the time. So we either go on a date or it's nothing. You know, like it's not.
Irvin's biological clock is ticking.
Exactly, my biological clock is ticking, bro.
Baby bug just booming. It's just been like, I want a baby.
I'm getting old, bro.
He has
I ain't got the time.
He has a niece now, and he's like, I need one.
Bro, he looks like he's 25.
Actually, my sister just announced that she's gonna have another one.
Pregnant?
Yeah.
Congratulations. You're gonna be an uncle.
Yeah. Second. There you go. All right. Thank you.
That way.
That's a long one.
Yeah. But
I think you gotta tap it again. Oh
no, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, but when you're younger, of course, that's where I would say start going on dates. As far as like if you're a young man, but don't prioritize that, because what Omar is saying too is you have to get your stuff together just in case certain circumstances do happen. Just in case you have too much fun, you get her pregnant, and then what? You have nothing to give her. You know. Think
with this head, not with this one.
That's right.
Yeah, but if I were to go back and if I had a son and literally if the situation were occurring to him, I would kind of go off of the idea like, look, I understand where they're coming from, because just in case if I have a daughter, I would kind of lean it towards her. I'm like, would you want your sister to have a guy and then basically not be able to provide for her, knowing that how much you love her? Because that's what's happening when it comes to the actual culture. Like they're really trying to have her daughter understand that it's not just the feeling of like the love, because love, unfortunately, it fades away as far as like the time that you're with them, as far as like if you get married.
It doesn't, okay.
Fades away.
Yeah,
I know. I'm a hopeless romantic.
Yeah.
We're over here like, no.
Yeah,
no, but it fades though.
Yeah, it's a feeling, right? It's a feeling. So
absolutely.
it's not gonna fade to its its demise.
Like you don't love them anymore.
Like but it's not gonna be that passionate love where like when you're in high school,
the honeymoon phase goes away.
Yeah, exactly. It fades away where now you're starting to see her, I guess her traits that would trigger you if you're like in that position of like annoyance already. I'm like, bro, she chews too hard, or she snores,
or she's kind of funny, or she eats funny.
Yeah,
these little dumbass things that
exactly
didn't matter in the beginning.
Now you start to nitpick as far as like what you're looking at, because you get used to it too. Like I said, we're visual creatures, and unfortunately, if you've gotten so used to that that sight as far as like what's in front of you, you now start to see what you didn't see before. And that's what I would tell my son. I'm like, look, unfortunately, it is what it is. You know, what I would advise you, go through the experience. Unfortunately, it's not. I would literally tell him it's not going to end well for you. I will tell him.
But at the
look,
same time, that
Go ahead, find out.
yeah, no.
that's going to
find
teach
out.
you. Though.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. That experience, because this is what Todd said. Remember when Todd was here? He's like, I wish my son would have an experience.
heartbreak.
Yes, I wish my son would have an experience of heartbreak already, because that's what will wake him up.
Yeah.
And that is very true for guys.
not lying.
That's truth. Right
Unfortunately for guys, we literally have to experience almost the negatives in order for us to understand what we could become as a positive. And that's kind of what I would tell my son.
Todd knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Pressure makes diamonds, baby.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
that means.
But that's kind of my advice if I had a son, hypothetical son, you know, that's kind of literally what I would say. Like, look, it is what it is. You're a guy. Your life is going to be a little bit harder. It's not given to you. No one's going to come in and save your ass. You have to save yourself. And unfortunately, you just have to just do it because that's what it is. And we don't pick and choose what we are. Unfortunately, now we are, but it's not ending well for them either. You know, that's what it is too. Unfortunately, it's just an illusion as well, but we live in reality. And in this house, if you want to live here, you live in reality, and that's it. If not, there's a door.
Kick rocks.
Kick rocks, boy.
Kick rocks.
That's right.
Doors open.
The door's open. I'll get your bags.
I'll even get the bags for you. Yeah.
Yeah. What time is it? Omar, you didn't even push record.
Shut up. I was like, you almost had me. I almost looked. And I was like,
He
no,
kind
I-
of got me. I even looked.
No,
I
I
was
know
like,
you looked, and I was like, no, shut up, dude. No, I did.
yeah.
All
I know
right.
I did.
Well, thank you guys for coming through once again, Ramzeigh. I know it was random and it was like last minute too, but it's always a pleasure to have you in the studio.
I'm always down.
Yes, and then Omar, thank you so much for coming through for the
Omar.
switcher, and then Ariana came through.
Very,
as
very
well.
spontaneous, and then like a lot of switching going on.
Yeah, very-
Hey, I'm
but
about it.
it's authentic like
You
that.
know,
Yeah, I like it. I like
It
it.
feels raw. It feels
It's
live.
raw.
you
It's
know?
genuine. It's
genuine.
genuine. We got two women by the corner right there.
You missed that story. You'll tell you about it later.
He's emotional.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for coming in, and thank you for being on my pod. Thank you for those that
sure.
are listening. Thank you for those that are watching. Please like and subscribe, and those haters, please comment, because the algorithm love your hate comments as well. So I'll see you guys on the next one.